Hello and welcome to another episode of So Fly. It's the middle of March.
Beginning of March?
Well, middle technically. This comes out the 15th, bro.
Okay, man.
Brah. Or the 30th. Do we have another show? No, this is the 15th.
Guys, don't be like that.
Oh my God. It's still tons of snow on the ground. It's freezing cold. We're in Toronto. My name is Mitch. We've got Gab on the show. Gab.
Hey, everyone.
We've got Aldo.
Hi, everybody.
And we've got a really special guest on the show today in the studio. We've got Keefer Pitfield here. How's it going, Keefer?
Excellent. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Keefer. I know you had to put the kids to bed earlier, so it's nice that you put them down and got to come here after a long day of work.
Well,
then the
listen,
kids, then here.
Thanks for doing it so late, guys. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, no problem at all. Like, yeah, we it's kind of nice, It's kind of quiet in the building. It's nice here. Like, we got some beers going on. We got 40 Creek going on. That'll make a couple glasses of 40 Creek will make an appearance, I think, maybe halfway through the show. Gab's news is broken out.
Yes.
Gab's got a
That's
crazy...
like my favorite segment.
Really?
Oh,
That's
yeah?
cool.
News. Today will be
I
a
winged it.
disappointment. He's going to be
was,
talking about boots. So stay
yeah.
tuned.
I closed a shop at Drift, and I was like, "Fuck news!" So I'm like googling on my way here.
Fly fishing plus what's new.
Yeah.
And boots. But we'll get to
Yeah.
that. We'll get to that a little bit later. So be excited for that. But yeah, we've got Keefer here today. Like I said, it's like still tons of snow outside. We haven't fished in a while. We got nothing going on, so it's nice to be able to talk to a competitive angler, a board member of Fly Fishing Canada, and a friend of past SoFly guests, Colin and Ian Troop.
Oh yeah, those are good boys.
You
Oh,
guys competitive fly fish together.
Yeah. So I've competed with Ian since basically day one, and Colin on international teams, and now we started to put together. And we've got a real great core group of guys at the national level for international events that have had some success, and we're starting to compete nationally together to sort of practice for the bigger stuff.
Oh, sick. That's rad. So you're still competing. You're competing.
Yeah, as much as I can. I didn't compete as much as I'd like to last year, the year before, young kids and all that.
Yeah,
We've got New Zealand coming up in 2020, early 2020, so that'll be something that I am.
That's going to be amazing.
New Zealand.
Oh, I'm dying for it.
Colin was saying that this morning.
I'm playing games with my kid. I just show him pictures of people catching big fish in New Zealand. Now every night he's like, fish, fish, fish.
Yeah.
I'm setting the layers for the next years.
Oh, man.
One day it'll just be like, "Hey, Dad, can we go fishing like this?"
Oh, it's-
And then you're like, "Okay, my work is done."
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
I'm waiting for it. It's gonna be fantastic.
Oh my God, I love that. So let's go back. Let's start way back before we get into the competitive, because you didn't just start fly fishing in competitive.
No, and I don't think anybody really does.
Can you imagine?
Or maybe some people do, but
Just
yeah.
straight into the competitive world. How'd you start fly fishing? How did it begin?
So I mean, I grew up spin fishing like probably most people do, and loved it, like completely obsessed with it. But didn't have a ton of opportunity to do it. And then between high school and university, I spent a lot of time at a friend's cottage in Muskoka, and was losing those $14 Impalas, and thought it might be cheaper to learn how to tie flies, which it's not. And
This is a
'cause
myth.
it just accumulates so much crap. But so my dad and my grandfather were fly fishermen, and so I asked my dad if he could find the time to teach me, and he's a busy guy. So when I went to London at Western, he found a guide there by the name of Ian James, who was a good friend of a bunch of guys that you guys have talked to.
Right, yeah.
And so I got to go out with him, and I guess he decided, not unlike with Ian and some of the other competitive guys, that we had some natural ability, and he and I fished together all throughout university. It was a long bout of university, but a lot of fishing. So I was kind of a part-time student and full-time fisherman. It was fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I fished for the first couple of years. It was all warm water. It was bass in London on the Thames River.
Oh, cool.
I lived a stone's throw away from the river. It was fantastic.
Oh, how was it? How was it fishing? Like, is the fishing good on the Thames
Oh
River?
yeah, you find the right spots, and
Yeah.
it is just fantastic.
There's
I always
huge
wondered.
bass.
Yeah.
I think the Thames River is probably one of the most diverse rivers in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
and it's getting better and better as this dam has,
Oh, so-
opened up, and they've shut it down basically.
Okay, wait. There's two things there then. That the dam. So first of all, a smallmouth bass I know are big in that river.
Yep.
What
Yeah,
other
they get
fish
bigger.
can you catch in there?
A bunch of different species of carp. There are trout in certain spots, although they can be hard to find. Walleye, pike, all sorts of kind of, different types of sucker fish and bottom feeders, which can be a lot of fun on a fly.
Yeah.
There's a huge sucker run, right?
Oh, yeah,
On the Thames.
Yeah, and they get a rainbow run, and little southwest of London, there's an area that gets browns or has browns.
Oh,
wow.
cool.
You-
Nice.
I mean, you're really lucky if you find them, but you can find them every now and again.
Can I ask you a question about those browns?
Yeah,
Is
shoot.
it close to Ingersoll?
Kamoka.
Oh, okay.
Nice. The dam? There's a dam that breaks it
So
down?
there was a dam called the Springbank Dam, and it was largely there for recreational purposes. There was a bunch of kayakers and whatever that had a club above it. But it really stalled the water, kept it warm, kept it slow, low oxygen content.
Yeah.
Ian started a Trout Unlimited group, and so we did some studying of the water, found that E. coli levels were just off the charts. It was really, really bad.
Crazy.
And then I think the dam broke down. I mean, I'm starting to date myself here, but this is a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I don't think the city could find the money to repair it. And the kayaking group really wanted them to repair it, but there was a big, environmental push not to do it.
Yeah.
And I think the fishing has improved precipitously since.
Don't
That's
you want to
awesome.
not kayak in Ecoli Fest?
Yeah, what-
Or you can
Festival?
just find, there's other places. Like, there's a
Yeah.
couple ponds and lakes in and around London. You can
Yeah.
start up your club, and you don't have to make the city spend millions of bucks on some dam that doesn't really do anything,
For kayak dam.
which destroys the environment. Like,
That's crazy.
I haven't been back in years. Ian could probably speak to it, but I hear the fishing has gotten a lot better.
Wow,
Rad.
that's an amazing story. I'm so happy to hear like a dam demolition success story. Jeez.
Yeah, they haven't actually torn it down. I'd love
Right.
it if they tore it. I
they
don't
actually
think they've
tore it
torn
right
it down.
down, yeah.
I think they've just left it open.
Right.
You know, actually, Gab and I went to a screening about dams at the Patagonia store.
Yeah.
Almost, what was it? Almost a year ago.
Yeah, almost a year.
And the Ontario River Alliance were there. I think they were talking about this dam.
No way.
That's
It,
true.
it
That's
was a
true.
big story in
Yeah.
southwestern Ontario as it relates to dams.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
I love. It's awesome to hear that the river's bouncing back after it too, because it's like we hear so many anglers talking about it and advocates for the water, and it's like when we see a success story, it's like there we go, like look, proof that it actually makes a huge difference. I mean, as if we need it. Like I think there's tons of proof already. But
Yeah, there's lots of points you can
yeah.
or showcases in the U.S. that have ripped down dams, and salmon runs are getting healthy again, and steelhead are coming back, and all this sort of stuff.
We should mention something else too, actually, just as a side caveat. Yilma's also here. He's taking pictures.
Hi,
I
Yelma.
know, right? So great.
And you know what's great about that? He could pass me the beer pitcher. Would you be a deer and pass me some more beer, buddy?
I've got I fished the Thames quite a bit because my wife's uncle has a huge property on the Thames,
Oh yeah,
and I've caught 3 species out of all of them: smallmouth, largemouth, and a pike. Oh, and a carp as well.
yeah.
But,
It's a great
but I
river,
haven't
man.
found
I
the
loved
browns.
it.
I've never fished the Thames.
I haven't found the
neither.
browns or anything, or a steelhead, or
Yeah, so I've only ever caught one brown there. I've seen somebody catch a rainbow. I haven't. I just know that these are there. Walleye is probably the most fun and more common, but not common catch, if that makes any sense.
yeah.
I think trout's pretty rare. Maybe it's changed. Like as I say, the river's getting better, so maybe people are catching more and more
That's
trout.
wicked, man. I didn't know that I had all those species. I
I
always
worked in a
thought-
fly shop back then
Yeah.
in London, and you'd get stories from customers coming in and pictures and stuff, and you'd see this stuff.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I always just thought smallmouth. I didn't, but I did. Like I said, I never fished.
it is a great smallmouth fish.
There's also
Yeah.
a lot
There's
of
no question.
farmland, right? So like,
Yeah,
it's
so the-
probably affected by that a bit too.
Absolutely, you get the cow shit and all that goes
Yeah.
in, and it
Yeah.
raises the E. coli levels, and
Yeah.
they ruin the banks and all that sort of
Phosphat
stuff.
and all that chemicals.
Do you remember your first fish
Like ever
on the fly?
on the fly. Yeah, it's more than likely a smallmouth bass
Yeah.
with Ian James.
Yeah,
I can, I know the exact pool,
yeah.
and 100% it was smallmouth.
So you and Ian and Ian James fished a lot together, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he was a pretty cool dude, eh?
Oh yeah, I mean, larger than life, funniest guy on the planet. Yeah, he was a real special guy.
Yeah.
And one of the best fishermen I've ever seen. Like the guy could, eyes closed, belt the whole fly line without any false casting, none of that shit.
man,
Just
yeah, yeah.
it was unbelievable. He could put it in he could put it in your beer glass, full fly line away.
Yeah.
But he'd bet you money before he did it.
That's awesome. I love that.
Of course.
So what was it that just like what drew you to fly fishing? I guess because you mentioned you started spin fishing as so many anglers do. What was it about fly fishing that made you want to just stick to it?
I don't even I can't I just kind of thought I was tired of losing those lures and getting hung up all the time. I knew they were smaller and maybe a little more nimble flies, I guess. And
Yeah.
I don't know. My dad did some fishing. My granddad was a really big fly fisherman.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't think I can pinpoint any one thing. It's just, I wanted to try it out, and then it became a problem. Like,
Yeah.
A big problem.
Doesn't it does that to all of us?
yeah, like I mean, how did you guys start about?
Pretty much the same. Yeah, I started
Yeah.
spin fishing, and then for whatever reason, my parents bought me a fly rod from Canadian Tire.
Pretty
And
much.
there you go.
And
Pretty
there we
much
go.
the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had those like Ninja Turtle little rods, and then when I was 7, my dad was like, "Okay, enough of this shit," and then
Yeah,
he put
yeah.
a fly rod in my hand and give me some classes, and then I started like that.
But it's interesting
Yeah.
though, because people go sort of get into it for different reasons, take different paths. Like, because like I loved fly fishing. I think like I loved fishing, and then I just was fly fishing was a natural progression, as we all sort of talk about. Like it was just something that was a little more of a challenge and all that stuff. But I never got into competitive angling. I never really went down that road. I just never really, I don't know. Like it was a part of the community because Colin was sort of like doing it, and I knew of like him and like Mikey Lennox. I knew of those guys.
Yep.
But I never went down like competitive. What was it that drove you into getting competitive with it? Like how
Just
did you find yourself there?
Ian James, he
Yeah.
pushed Ian Troop, he pushed myself, a guy named Dave Forgeron. Those were the sort of, and another guy who hasn't been in the competitive scene a long time, Tate Ligon. I'll throw that name out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he pushed us in actually the same year that Colin and Mike Lennox crushed the Nationals and crushed all of us. We went to that same Nationals, and that was our first Nationals.
That was in like the Czech or something, right?
No, this was
This
this was in Tremblant.
Tremblant, that's
in
right.
like
On
2008 or something like
like
that.
on the Diable.
Yeah, that dangerous,
Yeah.
but fun. Like that river has a real special place in my heart.
Yeah, I really want to fish it.
A lot of
Yeah.
rivers in Quebec are just like dangerous.
Well, I
Especially the
fished.
north-
I
the north
fished a
shore,
bunch of
yeah.
these rivers, and I think the Diab. I don't know. Maybe you guys know better than me, or you spent some more time in Quebec.
Not me.
But the Diab is a incredibly dangerous river.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
huge boulders and fast
And
currents.
there's not a single rock, boulder, or stone that is the same size as the
Oh
one
my
you
God.
just stepped on. They all look like sand.
Oh,
So
no.
you're like, oh, that looks like a really nice, cushy place to step. And I've just had the last 5 minutes have been hell, and I've moved half a meter.
Yeah.
And then you step on it, you slip, and you're fucking downriver like 25 meters.
Oh my God, man.
Shit.
I've heard. Yeah, that's what we've heard about it.
And you just bang yourself up. Like I've seen people break rods. I've seen people, you come out with a lot of bruises.
Jesus.
Have you always been Toronto based? Like you
Yep.
started your fishing on the Credit River or looking around here? or-
Well, so my fly fishing started in London.
Yep.
And then I started doing a little bit of guiding, and my family had a cattle farm near the Credit, so I knew
Yep.
some landowners, and I'd fish it every now and again.
Yep.
But my main home water would be the Grand.
Right.
I spend quite a bit of time on the Credit, but the really good water, like there's some great public access on the Credit, but the really good water is a lot of private water. And most of the property owners I knew 10 years ago, it's all changed hands, and I don't have that access anymore.
Yeah.
That must have been sweet when you did, though.
Oh yeah, it was fun. Yeah, I mean, like one of my favorite things is going fishing with one or two buds and not seeing anybody else. And it's not that I'm I'm moderately antisocial, but getting out there, and particularly so close to Toronto where it's just people everywhere.
Oh yeah.
It's nice to get out and all you hear is the birds in the water.
Yeah.
It can get pretty crowded, elbow to elbow some places.
Yeah. Yeah, and so London, you'd go up to the Huron rivers during the steelhead runs, and it is, shoulder to shoulder, and it's.
Oh yeah.
I did a bunch of that, and I've done enough of that. I'm
Yeah.
not doing that anymore.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, going back to maybe Ian, like when Ian took us down the Maitland on the drift boat, as opposed to being closer to the public access, I was like, oh,
Yeah, there's
having a boat is nice.
whole nice, quiet
There's-
river here.
Yeah, there's a
This is
whole
quiet.
beautiful
Yeah.
place here that.
Yeah, Ian's
People
got a
can't
sick
get.
boat. It's awesome.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
is. And we're going on it.
Yeah, that's going to be, I mean, you've already done it, but that is
Yeah.
awesome. It's like the most elegant way to fish a river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you cover the entire river.
Oh, yeah.
And you can stop and chill in whatever nice pool you want.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah,
I didn't think of that.
I haven't been on a drift boat yet, so
Oh,
I'm
it's
looking
wicked.
forward to it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You just drift down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does that work though? So you launch the boat, you drift down, and then what? You drive your car down, and
Yeah, so
having-
you'll have two cars.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you'll both, the two cars will meet at where you take out at the end of the day. You
Yeah.
drop the one car off, then you drive up,
Okay, that makes sense.
and you leave that car in the trailer up there.
Yeah.
And you go down with the boat, or you drop the boat off and then leave the trailer car down and
Right.
whatever.
You need two cars.
Ian's got the formula.
It's all those drift boat people listening are probably like, these idiots don't know how to.
Yeah.
But I've always
I'm getting the order wrong, but you got two
Yeah,
cars. You
yeah,
drop
yeah.
one down, you leave one
But
up.
it is a
and-
good
Makes
question
sense.
because I've always wondered too. Like,
always
you see
wondered.
people like in
Yeah.
the Rockies like going for like
Dude, it's
a
you
lot
can,
of
well, and
time, long
they have
day.
services. Like in Calgary, there's like
Oh,
you know,
man, it's
services
awesome.
that will pick
Oh,
you up.
yeah.
And
When we were in Montana, I was fishing with these guys I met at a bar. You just leave a 20 and you leave the 20, a 20, and your keys in the car. Some kid from the fly shop comes and moves your car.
This is
That's his
amazing.
job. That's his job.
Yeah.
But
That's
it's
fantastic.
awesome.
but it's like, but it's pretty like I'm not going to say it's a serious job, but it's a job. Like there
No, like, there's
are
demand.
there are 30 to 40 cars that you're moving.
There's demand.
Yeah,
for
Yeah,
it.
but you know
Yeah.
what? The guides who that young guy does that for,
Yeah.
I'm sure they take him out once or twice a year. And
Oh,
those are
absolutely.
the best days of his year.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, they're real. Like, that's a
It's
real.
such a crazy.
better than
world,
mowing
man.
lawns.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Maybe that
Like when you're
is
16, you know.
That is.
Well,
the mowing
Rob and I
lawns.
have already figured it out. My kid his first job is rain and drift.
Yeah. Plop him in there.
for the
yeah,
discount,
in like a
right?
week from now. He's less than 2 years old, but he's,
Hey, I'll teach him the rope.
Get
Yeah,
get that
I-
employee discount.
Apparently, I'm good with kids, so
excellent.
probably because I'm one myself.
How many kids you got?
2.
Nice, right on.
Yeah.
How old are they?
One is 3 months and one is 19 months,
Wow.
18
Wow.
months.
Fresh.
Congrats.
I hope
Fresh.
Yeah, they're both
I'm
pretty
hope I'm right.
fresh.
My wife is going to listen to this. There's 16
I'm
months
still
between
pregnant.
the two. Yeah. No, we're done. Two.
Yeah.
Two's good.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of
Drift
fun.
outfitters lined up. There you go, Rob.
Yeah, he's got staff for a long time.
Oh yeah.
That's cool. Okay, so then you started competitive fishing.
Yeah, so Ian pushed us in, Ian James, and a core group of us, Ian Troop, myself, and Dave Fordron competed together with a couple other guys building the dredge hogs over the years. And we
What
started
are
competing.
sorry to interrupt? What are the dredge hogs for
Haven't
those that?
a clue. That's a weird name. So it's our regional team.
Okay.
That's been competing since '08. But the name Ian Colin James, who's a funny, weird fellow, came up with the name, and there we are.
That's awesome,
And
man.
it just
That's cool.
stuck. And everybody makes fun of us. They're at all the competitions, like, what the fuck is a dredge hog? Well, we dredge the bottom with our flies, and we catch fish.
That's cool. I dig it.
It makes
I
sense.
dig
It
it.
makes sense.
You know, like,
Yeah.
you don't have to be too literal.
Sure,
That's
yeah.
pretty good.
People say, like, what's softly? What's softly? Or like, it's so fly. They're like, that's even stupider.
No, I like it. I like it. It's catchy.
Oh, man.
What was your first competition?
First one was 08 Nationals, and
Was that your favorite one?
no, I got crushed.
Oh, did you?
It was the worst. No, I mean, listen, the one thing I realized at that comp, and it was a national level comp, so you have it all. You've got the lakes and you got the rivers.
Right.
Not every comp has both, and it's a long event. It's 3 or 4 days.
Do you enjoy the rivers or the lake portion more?
So I started off. I mean, it's really hard to answer that now. Like I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
both, and they represent very different things. I started off as a river fisherman. Ian taught me on a river, and I always fished rivers. Actually, that competition may have been my first exposure to seriously going at a lake with a fly rod.
Yeah.
And I had one line or 2 lines, a floating line and a
Yeah.
die 7,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
nothing in between. But I actually did okay on the lakes. I got crushed on the rivers. I didn't fish well, and I blanked both sessions, and it was a nightmare. And I thought I was a good river fisherman, and it shook me up a bit. It was fun. Anyways, you learn a ton though.
Yeah.
So watching Canada's best guys, seeing what they do, how they catch fish under pressure, all that. In your first comp, you're nervous and all this stuff. But it was a real learning experience. I learned more in that week than I had learned probably almost my entire time. Not to take anything away from everything Ian taught me, but
Right.
Yeah.
you learn fast in those things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, yeah, you're in the action, right?
Yeah.
It's like
You're adjusting and you're seeing. I'm a pretty visual learner, so when I see somebody do something
Yeah.
different, I'm like, what is happening there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can read.
Yeah.
But
Sorry, what lakes were those
I
again?
can't.
That would have been Pouvari Barou,
Yeah.
which is just south of Tremblant, and it's like a put and take fishery that most
Yeah.
people go and pay for.
Yeah.
and they've got a bunch of lakes. I can't remember which ones we would have been on because we've fished that thing so many times now, and we fished a bunch of different lakes in each different comp. But it's a great little spot.
How'd you approach the fishing of the lake in that?
I just so when you're fishing in a competition in a lake, you're in a boat with another competitor, and each time any competitor out there was more experienced than I was. So I just, take me where you want to go, and I'm just going to try and fish the way I think I know how to fish. And I did reasonably well on the lakes. I didn't win any sessions or anything like that, but
Right.
I was catching fish and it was fun.
Yeah.
And I was learning from the guy beside me and kind of getting a sense of how they read a lake. You can't use fish finders or anything like this. You don't know what the bottom looks like unless you have topo maps, and we didn't at the time.
Yeah.
So you start to learn how to, visually read a lake, and
No topo maps, nothing. You just kind of have.
not at the time. I mean, now I don't.
Right,
if
right,
we're in
right.
a comp, I don't go to a lake without a topo map
Yeah.
if it's available.
Yeah.
It's not always available.
So you get
but
to
you
this
can read the
lake.
contours of the land going into the lake and have a sense
Right.
of
Right.
the angle at which it's gonna go from the bank and how steep
Right.
and deep it likely gets.
Like when you were
Yeah.
like when you're spotting drop-offs on this
Yeah.
Blake Lake.
Yo, that was sick, right?
Yeah.
Because I like lake
Pretty
fishing.
yeah.
I love it. I love lake fishing. I love it. But I'm not like huge. I don't know how to
I
fish
just, I
necessarily.
just don't know
trout
how to
and
do
stuff.
it, really, yeah.
It's tricky. Like I grew up learning, or I started fly fishing on lakes. So it was like I kind of got, like I understood the topo maps and the need for those, and then I kind of figured out that stuff. But very like I'm nowhere even near scrape the surface of how to fish lakes. Very interesting to me fishing.
Oh,
lakes.
it's fun.
Yeah.
I really love it now, and I mean it's like you think you got a lot of gear after you go after rivers for a while, and then
Yeah.
you start messing around with fine tuning lakes, and
It's a whole
I
other
mean I was
world.
respooling some lines the other night. I think I got like 32 lines for one rod. It's driving me nuts.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so it's a really painful process.
I am
and-
doing something
See,
so
you gotta
wrong.
double-
yeah. I'm like I have 3.
No, no, there's some duplicates in there.
Yeah,
But
right.
So you got a duffel bag just
I mean,
full of
there-
spools.
That's
of
awesome.
all different lines,
That's awesome.
I don't know, maybe there's 22 or something like that. Like
Wow.
it's crazy. And we get into these tricks, right? Like
Yeah.
so, everybody in Europe. Well, I'm generalizing, not everybody, but most guys in Europe will use airflow lines.
Yeah.
And everybody knows what the color is, and like I know what that guy's using, and he's 100 meters away. But if he's
Right.
catching fish, I can tell based on the color, so I'm going to switch it
Right.
out and try and mimic what he's doing.
Right.
So I'll throw in like a Cortland line or a reel line, but it's the same depth and sinking profile, but it's a different color.
Yeah.
And it throws people off.
So you say there's 2% on the boat.
Whoa.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty
it's fun.
cool.
That's a cool
I mean,
rate.
Easy tactic.
It works for some of the people, not all of the people.
Yeah.
You gotta have pretty much dialed in. You're like,
That's like,
yeah,
that's
so
like
I mean, the lakes is you find the depth that they're at, then you find the style of retrieve that they want. And fly is generally last. Too many people get hung up on flies.
Right.
Like if I should have brought my boxes, but
That would've
my
been
river
sick.
box is like maybe 2 or 3 different flies, but
Yeah.
all different sizes and bead colors.
Yeah.
But the fly is the same.
Yeah.
My lake box is pretty well the same. Like I got 1 or 2 boobies, 1 or 2 this or that, or like pretty well fish it. Ian and Colin are gonna laugh, but I fish a damsel like all the time.
Yeah. In lakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
well,
yeah.
that's what Ian was saying. Like at the certain depth, you can have whatever color of fly you want. Like they all kind of look pretty similar.
Yeah, I mean, again,
It's your presentation at that
it's
point.
it's getting them at the right place and
Right.
showing them the action they want, and then
Mhm.
fly in profile. Like, I mean, think 30 feet down. Like, how much light is there down there, and how?
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
light penetration goes away pretty quickly.
Yeah.
If your
super
booby
quick.
is like olive or beige, like it's gonna be like, that one is not brown. Like it.
Yeah, I think it's well. I mean, sometimes it becomes fly specific. Very much more often is it
Yeah.
profile and action and style of retrieve.
And the booby, for those of you who don't know, is a fly pattern.
That's right. Big foam eyes.
Or a
Good one.
seabird.
Good catch.
Good one, Mitch.
Right. We do like a little bit of prep on these shows. We typically will sometimes Google our guests, and we Googled you and we saw that you won a fish cat through the new Fly Fisher.
So
Yeah,
it's not just fly. It's not the only type of competition you're good at.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
and that was on Facebook, and I saw that in Aldo's note.
That's
and
the first thing that
I'm trying
came
to
up
think
when
to
we
myself,
Googled your
like,
name.
How did that happen?
Keefer
I'm trying-
Pitfield wins a fish cat.
Like,
That
sick.
thing is awesome, man.
Yo, it's the best.
Oh, I've got one too. They're great.
yeah,
I
Yeah,
love that thing. I think it was
Send
one of
us
those
fish
things
cats.
that you like, you like our page and you like their page
yeah.
and you make some comment and tag some people and, you're in the pool.
You're killing it.
I didn't think they actually gave things out for that. I thought they just did that. and
Yeah,
got
neither
their
did I. I was like,
followers,
there's
so
no
it's like-
chance I'm getting this.
Yeah.
I'm going to share it with like 17 people and just piss them off.
Yeah.
But and I'm not on Facebook anymore, so I tried to go. I couldn't remember whether it was Facebook or Instagram, but it was Facebook, so I couldn't go back and remember how exactly I won it.
Oh, man,
But I don't
so
think
good.
I did anything special. I got lucky.
It was
love
pretty
that.
funny though. We like Googled your name.
I
And
was like,
then
what?
Yeah, and I was like, so they're gonna ship me this big box, and then this big box shows up, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
No way.
I'm going fishing.
They just shipped you a big old fish cat.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Are you
man.
in the city in Toronto?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right in Midtown.
Where do you like fishing the most currently? Like if you just had like a day.
It's gonna be the Credit or the Grand or
Yeah.
some private pond. I've got access to a bunch of private ponds and fish those quite regularly as well.
Nice.
How often are you practicing? Do you have
Not
time?
much anymore.
No.
It's like university, I was fishing 150, 200 days a year.
Right.
Like in the winter, I got funny stories on that. But now,
Such as
so one winter.
This is the time for funny
it's true.
stories.
So one winter in London,
Yeah.
right after a big snowstorm, and it's beautiful. Like you're on the river, and there's like mushroom snow caps on every rock. It looks really cool.
That's cool.
And there's a bridge. My favorite spot was a bridge. There was a bridge across the river, and I'm not going to say which one because it's a wicked fishing hole.
Yeah.
But some lady was walking across a bridge, and she saw me, standing up to my chest in the water, and she called the fire department, and they came
No
and
way.
and they thought I was in trouble. And so these guys come ripping across the bridge with the sirens on, thinking
my
somebody's in
God.
trouble in the water
So
It
much
was
for
just-
protecting
it
that
was just
special fishing hole.
fishing. Yeah.
what are you doing? I'm drowning.
No, they like
you
looked
got
in,
me.
I don't know what they thought I was doing, but they like looked in my bag, which was, because by the time they came, I was coming out of the water, and
Yeah.
I was packing up my waders or whatever.
Yeah.
And they like looked through my bag and stuff. It's like I don't know
The
what you guys think I'm
firefighters?
doing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
like,
like, sir, are you high? Can I see in your bag? What are you carrying?
firefighters
yeah,
look
this is
through-
long before it was legal.
Yeah. The firefighters look at your bag and be like, what the hell are you doing? Get
I don't know.
outta here."
Maybe I don't know. Maybe they thought I was
Yeah.
trying to discard something
Yeah.
nefarious in the water or something. I don't know.
Well, hey, that's crazy,
Yeah,
man.
weird little story. But
That's
so
awesome.
yeah, back then I
pretty
was
funny.
fishing a ton.
Yeah.
I maybe fished 3 or 4 times last year, 3 or 4
no
times the
way.
year before. Like
Yeah.
I
You got shit going
young
on,
kids, full
You
time.
got a career. You got kids.
Yeah, it's
tough.
tough. I wish I could fish more.
Man. But, it makes getting out, like, even more special, right?
Oh
When
yeah,
you do.
absolutely.
Yeah, you
Even
enjoy
if
it.
it's for like an hour or two.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And then
I love
soon, maybe 4 or 5 years, your kids will come with you,
Oh, you're on it.
or maybe
Yeah.
in
Oh,
a
yeah.
year it'll be in a backpack.
As
or
soon
something,
as
you know,
soon
like,
as soon as I get the go ahead, it's on.
Yeah, we.
it's just a
And then I
little
have an
pass.
excuse. Like my wife can take the entire day to herself.
Yeah,
yeah,
I got the
yeah,
kids
yeah.
for the whole day.
Oh yeah.
Yo, the backpack thing? Fly fishing
Yeah, we
backpack?
Oh, yeah,
we just
yeah.
interviewed Tim Camisa from Trout and Feather, and all of his pictures he's got.
Yeah, I got to get one of those. Yeah.
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 I got to get one of those for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And I got Ian and Colin lined up to teach my kids. It's fantastic because loved ones, it can be hard to teach. Like they,
Oh,
they
yeah.
don't always.
Oh yeah,
listen.
my dad didn't teach
Yeah.
teach me a little bit, but really like
Yeah.
It'll be
it was like-
sweet when they can row the drift boat for you.
Yo.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, change my line.
yeah.
Okay. That's great, man.
Yeah, that'll be a nice change. I got a bunch of friends and Ian too. And he's gonna know exactly who I'm thinking about, but he just hands us his rod.
Yeah.
He's like, I got a tangle.
That's awesome,
Great.
man.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That's great.
Re-rig me now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the one good thing you can that there still exists in the fly fishing world if you can't get out as much as fly tying.
Yeah. So I know most people feel that way. I am not a big fly tire,
No.
and I can do it. And
Well, there goes the next 20 minutes.
yeah, sorry guys, I really don't like. I do it as a necessity. So
Yeah,
when I just because I want to fish
Yeah, man.
and
Yeah.
I fish the same damn fly, so I'll crank out 10 and I'll just go,
God,
and that'll
yeah,
last
done.
me like
Honestly, I bring my vice to the river, and everyone thinks it's like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
I'm like,
so
I
you're
do
into it, though. You love
I
it.
do it. No, I do it because of that
Utility.
reason.
Utility.
I don't have any time,
Right.
and I run out of flies on the river.
There you go.
And I'm like, well, I'm gonna eat lunch eventually.
whip up a fly or two.
Everyone's like, oh, it's so romantic. He loves fly tying. I don't. I just run out of flies.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's fair. Like, the utility of it. Like, I over the last few years have found myself buying more flies than I ever had in my life because it's like I tie a fly and my apartment looks like a friggin' barn.
Yeah,
There's
I'd be
shit
lost.
everywhere.
I'd be lost if it wasn't for guys like Chris. Chris has tied me a lot of flies.
Yeah.
and
There's some
he's
guys in the Czech
awesome.
Republic that tie me some flies, and it's
It's also awesome having good tires.
That's the
Like,
thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
When you
Well,
got-
and
yeah.
Chris is one of the best tires there is, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Oh yeah,
impressive.
he's solid.
New Year's Eve, Wheelman and I fished with Chris, and he showed. He's like, "Hey, you want to try one of my flies?" And I was like, I just looked at it, and I was like, "That's gonna catch a fish."
Oh yeah.
And sure enough,
Oh my
One-
god!
one-
yeah.
record steelhead,
He
like
got
my
a
personal best
beautiful
steelhead.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
It was like a 12-pound.
It just had the mojo. I looked at
Hen,
that fly,
man.
and I was like, "That's
Yeah,
the
sometimes
fly."
you just know.
I was like, "That's
one
a fly
fishy
today."
fly.
Yeah, it was a fishy fly.
I didn't know that was on a Chris special.
That was on a Chris. You know what? And it was just his birthday. Happy birthday, Chris.
Happy birthday, Chris,
Happy
man.
It
birthday,
was.
Ravi.
It was.
Yeah.
I can say that.
Please.
I got him drunk last night.
Nice. Nice.
It's his birthday, you know?
Wobbly arms and big
Oh, yeah.
smile on his
Yeah,
face. It was
that's
good.
great.
It was good.
He's a
That's
good
awesome.
guy.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Chris is a
listen,
good dude.
He's
such
a
a good
hell of
guy.
a fisherman. So he's only been at the competing thing for a little while now, but he's doing really well.
Former guest.
Yeah.
Most listened to SoFly podcast.
Yeah,
it's
Chris
true.
Christiak.
Wow.
Still to this day.
Still to this day.
stands?
Fly just, I think so.
Nice.
He's the champion.
He's the champion.
Yeah.
Birthday. Happy birthday,
Happy
brother.
birthday, Chris.
No, I couldn't believe it. I went fishing with Chris last summer, and we're in a run, and he's like, "Okay, we're gonna pull out like 20 fish out of this," and I'm like, "Dude, this is the size of my house," and he's like, "Yeah," and we did, and
Oh yeah.
I've never because I've only started like the Euro nymph last summer, and like that's how I kind of started to believe it.
So people's first exposure to urine nymphing and somebody proficient at it in front of them, it's a real eye opener.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that window there, which is for people who can't see it, it's like a dining room table.
Yeah.
You can catch 20 or 30 fish at your feet.
Yeah, it was insane.
It's
I've
insane.
never.
Yeah.
It really
really
opened
is.
my eyes.
Yeah.
Chris opened my eyes to that.
Same. Chris opened my eyes, and I was watching catch fish. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. And then I got a Euro nymphing rod, and then very quickly after that went to upstate New York
Oh yeah.
to some old water I used to fish on the Chateauguay, which is a stocked river, and it was nuts. It was nuts.
Yeah.
I love
was
the
like-
Chateauguay.
yeah.
That-
I love the
I haven't
Chateauguay.
fished the
It's-
U.S. side. I've only fished the Quebec side.
It's
but-
packed
Oh,
for
man.
it's packed full of fish for anybody who fishes it. But if you Euro nymph that river, it's a joke.
Oh yeah, the
It
bug
is.
life is insane.
It's the bug life is
I've
crazy.
there are a few rivers that I've seen so many bugs.
And the salmon, too. Not far from
The guy I
that.
went with was also a really good angler, not James Bond, but James Bond, at Fly Fishing Ontario. If anybody wants to check him out, he's a really nice guy. Good pictures, fishy dude.
Yeah.
I took him to upstate New York, being like, "This is where I cut my teeth. I love you. There's so many fish." And he's like, "Yeah." And it was just like, we hit a huge hatch. It was. You're right. The bug life is insane.
Man,
To your
you
point,
turn over a rock there, you can't see the rock. It's insane.
yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
There's so
you don't
much
even
for
have
them
to turn
eat.
it over. You just look at the rock.
There's
and
so much
the
for
water
them
is
to
just
eat.
full of bugs.
There's a special energy in the New York side. Like the river, the Chateauguay
Yeah,
and the salmon.
Colin tells me about it all the time. You gotta
Yeah.
come up.
The marble too.
Yeah.
The
Haven't
Chateauguay
been
and the
yet.
marble.
And then if
he's-
you...
I should- maybe I shouldn't say
every
it.
now and again
Yeah,
he's
well, too
sending me
late.
pictures of these bruiser fish and just what am I doing with my life?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I'm saying
Colin has the sickest job on the planet. Let's just put
his
that on the
job is
table.
Oh, yeah,
gnarly,
for sure.
Yeah.
It's gnarly.
He
for sure.
actually,
Colin is probably the fishiest dude I know.
He's the fishiest dude.
I
know.
can't. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's the fishiest dude.
He's fishy as hell. We had him on the show recently.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed that show.
Yeah, he
It was a good show.
It was a great
It's
show.
a
We
long show. It was
talked
good.
for hours, you know.
Yeah,
We even dropped like a bit of it because we even were talking when we weren't even rolling, and it was just like the conversation was amazing because he's just a fishy dude.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know?
So and back to the fly tying thing. Like when
Yeah.
I'm at the table with
Oh, yeah,
those
right.
guys, when I'm at the table with those guys, Ian, Colin, I'll
Yeah.
tie flies for hours.
Yeah, because
You know,
it's
like
just,
when you're with your fishing crew.
yeah.
Anyway, it's
Dude,
you
it's
know,
so true.
Then
Like-
I can get in the zone and crank out
It must be-
76 damsels.
It must be
That
so.
all look exactly the same.
It must be so
So
great
true.
to like. I mean, it's so nice for like. I mean, we found our fishing buddies, you know,
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah.
Must be so cool to be able to compete with your fishing buddies. Like,
Oh yeah, and
it's
you
not
know,
really
these are.
it's a team, but it seems like with you guys anyway, it seems like it's more than a team. Like it's
Oh
a
yeah,
real,
no,
like,
we're
bond
all
and
very
friendship.
good friends.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I'm texting with Colin several times a week. Ian, like I was chatting with Ian today.
Yeah.
We're just planning the first announced comp in our region, so we're gonna have some fun this
So
year.
rad.
I'm gonna compete a little bit more this year, I think.
What's the
Trying to-
first comp this year?
The first announced one is I think nationals in the fall. I can't remember the exact dates. Colin's setting that
Is that
up.
at Canuck?
I guess that's the first announced one. Yeah, that's in Canuck. It's gonna
Yeah.
be fun. And then Quebec Championships, which is sort of north of Sherbrooke, I just saw it on the Innovative Fly Fishing Forum today.
All of the Quebec competition in Quebec seems to be in that area,
Yeah.
Canuck and around kind of
Well,
Montreal,
It's these core areas of solid lakes.
Yeah.
So Canuck is the most incredible place. Like there's a lot of small fish there, but they're starting to stock triploids and like some bruiser fish are starting to show up. And in the past you get a couple big ones as well, but the lakes are fantastic. A bunch of these lakes have private cabins. The team will be in a cabin and you have this lake to yourself. And whether
So
Oh,
it's a
rad.
competitive lake or not, like it's actually nicer if it's not one of the competition lakes because you go home, you have dinner, and then you go for a fish. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, because I grew up just outside Quebec City, and then my dad was pretty involved in the fly fishing community and stuff, and I've never heard of competition before. And so it was really, I think it was like...
it was a really
Montreal and-
small,
Yeah.
niche-y thing, and it's still a very niche sport, but it's a niche sport within a niche sport.
Yeah.
But back then it was real quiet. Like you never heard about this stuff.
Yeah.
And people at work are always joking around like,
People
this is like a competitive guy, and then they're like, competitive what?
Dude, people, yeah, same. People are like, what? Yilma and I work together. People are always like, you guys have a fly fishing podcast? What? Like, what? We're like, yeah, like, trust us. Like, fly fishing, way bigger than you think it is. And they're just like, no. And it's like, it is. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, no. As a sport, it's big,
And
Yeah.
it's growing. And
competitive wise,
too.
it's
Right. It's like you
Canada.
said.
It's still pretty small.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna round, but maybe there's 100 people in Canada that do it.
Yeah.
In the States, there's probably maybe 1,000 or whatever. I'll get that number wrong, but
Yeah. But
Europe, it's huge.
huge in Europe. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. The Spanish call them
Oh my God.
Spanish, the French. They're,
Yeah. Like gnarly, eh?
Yeah, so actually, we're bringing, or not we, Ivo Balanov out of Ottawa and some of his guys, and Ian Troop and a guy named Cyprian are bringing David Arquet back to Eastern Canada, and they're going to do some clinics.
Yeah.
That is a do not miss for anybody who wants to forget about competitive fly fishing, just become an incredibly good angler.
Yeah.
The guy's the best in the world. So
We got some of his
We got some
dry
of
fly
his-
leaders.
His leader formulas are insane.
Yeah.
it's not just so.
Well, it's not
you-
just-
You
I know
should
it's
take
just
the
not
clinic
that. Yeah,
because
yeah.
the cast for that leader presents a dry fly in a way that
Yeah.
it'll just blow your mind. Like
Yeah.
you just get a free drift for fucking ever.
Oh, man.
It's
Chris
Oh,
showed
dude,
me really
yeah.
quick,
Chris showed me really quickly too. Like,
Really?
but
It's-
we have to study
that's what I was
it.
using.
Yeah, so-
that's what I was using at that Spring Creek in Montana.
Oh.
That's what I was doing, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I've been a
Yama.
nymphing whore for 10 years
Yeah.
and never touched a dry fly because
Yeah.
it's rare here that you feel like you need to in a competition. Like you're almost always going to catch more fish nymphing, but there are scenarios where they're keyed in on dries and
Yeah.
particularly in certain types of water. And I think last year on the Grand was the first year that I actually knocked out a bunch of fish on dries because they were keyed in on it. And I had learned from Ian. I didn't get a chance to learn from David himself, but I had learned from the guys about, this technique of dry fly fishing. And it is a no-brainer how you present the fly. You get the cast right, the leader right,
Yeah.
and it's fantastic.
Jesus. I haven't heard this before.
You say you haven't have too much use for dry fly
check
in
this out.
competition in Ontario, but I found in Southern Ontario in general, we don't necessarily use that much dry. Like we do a lot of nymphing.
Yeah,
From what I've seen, I'm probably
the-
wrong.
there's
but-
lots
Well,
of
us.
guys on the Grand
Us.
that are like
Us, yeah.
pure dry fly guys.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And credit that are pure dry fly guys.
Yeah.
Like
Mm.
there are a ton of guys that are just, and they're all recreational guys. You wouldn't run into them unless you talked to them
Mhm.
on the river, but they are just pure dry.
And they're
fly.
on bamboo rods.
Yeah, some of them. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's an episode I want to check out. Is that?
Oh,
I've
the James-
I've heard that's a great episode.
The James
Yeah.
Bond episode.
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite episode.
James
He's
is
such a good speaker.
captivating guy to listen to, and he took us through the history of bamboo, and it was just fun. Like, it
Yeah,
was fun
that's
to
cool.
hear
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
That's really cool.
That was.
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite.
was cool.
Aside from the one where we recorded at 4 a.m. at Elk Lake. Other than that, that was
4
those
in the
two.
morning. That's
Four.
Yeah,
that's a tall ask.
that one
Yeah.
was a mess, but people loved it though.
Yeah.
I remember like people
was
were like,
fun.
"That was fun."
You know, I like all the shows, but James recently we had him on, and it was just like he's like such a cool guy, like a badass cool
Yeah,
guy,
yeah.
and he had such a cool way to speak about.
And he loves to share. You know,
yeah.
like there's a difference.
love-
There's like
yeah, I love that.
anglers, they They just want to be left alone and
Yeah, it's just
do their thing.
it's
just such
bamboo,
a
man. Bamboo's an interesting world. You know.
communication.
Do you ever fish bamboo?
I've cast them a few times. I don't think I've actually ever fished one.
Yeah.
But it's a completely
Whole
different
other
ball
thing.
game.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know, I'm used to fast rods.
Mhm.
You really got to, it's like a glass rod kind of, I guess.
Yeah.
You got to really slow
Yeah.
it down.
Like a glass. Yeah, exactly.
Mitch fish bamboo quite a bit.
Yeah, I've got one rod, and it's a 5-weight, and I love fishing trout with it. Like, it's great for like just doing little dry fly things on the credit and stuff like that. But I mean, it's just beautiful. Like
It
the
makes-
aesthetic of it's a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
you can lay it dry down really nice with them.
It
Oh,
makes
yeah.
me nervous because I break everything. Everything I
Oh,
touch will
bamboo is
break.
tough, man.
I know,
Bamboo is tough.
but
You-
like
you know, like
it's
they
tough.
build all the scaffolding out of bamboo, and
it's
in
not
a
that
lot of
they're
countries
yeah,
in
no,
the
for
world,
sure,
like-
Yeah.
for sure. It's not that they're sensitive. It's just that if you break them, they're like
Yeah,
you
no,
gotta
it's a
find
real
the right
craft.
person
So,
to
yeah, it's not so
to-
easy
to-
to get fixed. That's
You
Yeah.
know, if you break your sage, your or whatever, like if you break your graphite rod, you just like go to the shop and then
yeah.
3 weeks later you got a new piece. With
We've-
bamboo, you gotta find a person to fix it.
We've told this story before, but Gab one time when we were fishing the credit, lost his rod, didn't break his rod
That's always a sad day.
in the river.
Oh,
He
in
was-
the
he
in the
was
water.
in
I
the
was
water.
I was taking a photo and
You
then I
set
had it on
down.
my knees.
Oh yeah,
And
And
then
it just-
I just stand up.
forgot
and
it
then,
was
and
on
then
your
I'm
knees.
walking down the river like nothing else is
And
happening.
he's like,
And then I'm like, what the
Oh,
fuck? I
shit,
don't have a
I
rod
had this
anymore.
thing
Yeah.
5 minutes ago.
Mitch, holy shit, I lost my rod. And I'm like, what? We're in 3 feet of water. The credit, we were in a small part. We're like, we got to find this thing. We waited around for like a half an hour like this. Like, if you can't see, walking around like Frankenstein, like feeling the bottom of the
We
friggin'
found
river.
it though.
We found it.
Yeah, it was
whack.
stuck on like a tree underwater. I'm like,
man.
I can see something shining.
God.
It was like
That's lucky.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
lucky.
yeah.
That's good.
I'm not always lucky, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty lucky considered.
You got lucky. You got lucky.
Going back to talking about like the state of the sport, and
Yeah.
like there's a few, there's a certain amount of anglers, competitive anglers in Canada or whatever. Do you think we're on the? Do you think Canada is on the come up? Is the sport is in a competitive way in a good spot? What do you think we need to work on?
Yeah, I think.
Or what
we're-
would you like to see more of?
Well, I'd love to.
'Cause
see
you're involved in
I'd
the-
love to see
yeah.
more young guys coming up,
Right.
young women coming up. I'd love to see more women in the sport. Like
Yeah.
we could really use more women in the sport. And some competitions are going the direction of requiring women or female.
Oh, yeah?
It's
pretty cool.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the quality of anglers in Canada has come up a lot. We have a ton of room to go. But yeah, I mean, I think we've had some success internationally now.
Yep.
At a team level, which I think is the most important part. Like we've had some individual success over the years, but now we're really starting to click with certain teams. And I think it's the quality of anglers that are coming up, the access to information from European guys, the direction from the board in selecting teams and making sure the right group is together, because it's all about it's about the culture of a team and how they get together and get along.
Are you involved in that selection process?
No, I'm actually not on. I don't think I'm on any of the selection committees.
Okay.
No.
Not even for the youth teams.
No.
Is that something you'd like to do eventually?
Yeah. I mean, we all have our
Not
sort
trying to
of
put you on the spot, but-
No, we all have our spots on the board, and we only have we only have so much time for these things, right?
Yeah.
Like so. I think the stuff that I'm involved in is we're doing a big initiative to improve the website, which is, to be honest, it's a bit of a mess. So that's going to be a bit of a project.
What is the website?
That's a very good question. I think it's flyfishingcanada.net, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
But
We'll find out. We'll put it in the show
it's
notes.
just kind of all over the place, and we got to clean it up and make sure the message is concise. And
Right.
but we're starting to do a lot of great things from the top, from the bottom. Like it's improving in all aspects. And so listen, I mean, if there are people listening to this that are young or however old you are, if you were at all interested in competitive fishing, then there are ways to get in touch with the competitive guys, whether that be through Fly Fishing Canada or your local fly shop. Like most fly shops know how to get in touch with one of these guys in one shape, way or another.
Yeah.
And most of the competitors in Canada are always willing to give some time to somebody to help get them into
Yeah, for
competitive
sure.
fishing.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody, but It is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you learn like a ton
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
fast, right? Which is cool. Like I really dig the idea of
Yeah.
that.
And I love how open you guys are. You know, like for me and that came on the show, Colin and you, like you guys are like
Super
no, just
cool
come
dudes.
to me, come to us. You know, like
Oh yeah,
suggest,
Super
like,
nice.
listen,
It's
I mean,
great. It's great.
We
'cause-
want to grow the sport. We want to grow the quality of the guys in the sport.
Yeah.
Cause like there's a lot of sports that is it's very close. And,
Well, listen, it
you
wasn't
know,
always that way. When you know, early on, you know, I'd never show anybody my flies, and
Yeah.
when I'm doing up my rod on the bank of a river, and then a competitor walk by, I'd try and hide my
Yeah,
flies
sure,
and my
yeah.
rigs. Now I don't give a shit. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
fuck, look at my flies.
Yeah.
If my flies, you see my flies, and they're gonna change what you're gonna do on the river, then you're not ready.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a good way to look
But
at
I'll
it.
teach you how to spot fly lines from across the lake.
yeah. 'Cause
No,
that
they
trick,
all-
DI7, DI5,
Dude,
intermediate.
I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna work
Yeah.
on that.
that's a cool
Yeah.
trick, man.
That is a.
I'm gonna get you with that. Yeah,
Yeah?
I'm looking at you, baby.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put on a friggin' sinking line on a 3-foot pool in the
If you want to catch fish, man, don't copy what I'm doing. Because I don't know.
I'm dying to get out with you guys. We got to go fish together.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be so much
No, it'd be
fun.
awesome. It'd be awesome.
That'd be fun.
for
It'd
sure.
be so good.
For sure.
Yeah.
we will.
Yeah, we definitely without trying, actually fished with a lot of our guests last year, and we're like, wow, that was a really good idea that we
That was
just
awesome.
kind of
Yeah.
did. Like, we didn't go out of our way to do it; it just
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
happened naturally.
We should
and-
go fishing.
and it brought
Okay.
us to different rivers,
Yeah.
which is, I mean, obviously, I love fishing with people, but that was also an added bonus. You know, was getting to see more of Ontario.
It's cool to go to the places our guests go because it's like they go like you saying right now. You grew up fishing in London. It's like that's super cool, man. Like I heard about London,
Maybe
but
we got to
never
go to the
fished.
Thames.
Maybe
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
and check out
I
see
got
how
a
it's
place to stay
rebounded.
for us.
News?
Yeah.
We got it queued up. You ready?
Okay, ready?
I'm gonna
Ready?
intro. You ready, Gab?
I'm so ready.
All right, good.
I have
'cause
to
it's
pee, can I?
playing.
Hey, this is Fly Fishing News with your host, Gabriel Bizorregis.
Nice.
Right? Was that
Nice.
good?
Nice. That might have been your best one.
That was pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually it takes me 3 times.
Hey,
Right
yeah.
outfit, man.
Here's my Amy. Can we do it again?
No, that was sick, man.
But no, just for film.
Oh, okay, sure. Ready?
All right, sure.
Ready, Gab?
Man, that was so good.
All right, ready, Gab?
You can do it again.
Ready,
I
Yelma?
have faith. I have faith.
You got another one in, yeah? Ready?
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
I'll do my my
Okay.
yeah, a good voice. Hello, this is Fly Fishing News with your host, Gabriel Bizorregis. How was that?
The voice change.
The voice
The
change,
voice
right?
change.
It was heavy.
I know,
it
I
was
know.
heavy. It was heavy.
You
I
dropped
know.
your voice right down.
I know.
That was insane, dude.
Sorry?
Can you put that on the yellow light?
That's sick, man.
What yellow light?
What yellow light?
There's a yellow light.
There's no yellow
I
lights.
didn't
Yelma's
even
making
know
stuff
about
up.
that.
Yelma's still filming things. He's making
Yelma's
things
really,
up.
really screwing up with it. Usually it's Gab that screws up the news segment, but right now Yelma is the
doing a
one
great
screwing
job.
it all up.
Yelma hates me.
Putting on night vision.
What
on-
are you doing? My phone is in French.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you
Yelma.
just leave his phone alone. He needs
What are
his
you
notes.
stealing his phone and
Yelma,
leaving the
stop telling
space?
me
Oh,
how to
this is a
live my
disaster.
life.
Kiefer's going to tell everybody about this.
Hey, for don't tell
These
anyone.
SoFly guys,
Yes.
I don't know, man.
Okay. Let's just.
Yelma doesn't have any
that
pants
softly.
on.
Yelma's trying to look
Oh,
at.
no, that's it. Thanks, dude.
But then my phone's yellow.
Okay, Gab, what's going on?
Okay, hey. Today I saw and touched the Patagonia Danner boots.
I've heard
Oh.
lots about
Yes.
these boots.
These
I
the
know.
new Patagonia.
So news with Gab today is product placement, and nobody asked me. So like send the
Product-
checks.
Product review with Gab.
Product
yeah.
review with Gab.
Product. Yeah. Product observations. I haven't used. It's not a review. I've never used them. But yeah, man, those boots. It's made by Danner, so they're amazing.
Yeah.
Every single part of the boot can be replaced.
Yeah.
So like the thong of your boots break,
The what?
they change the thong, the
thong?
the tongue, you
The
know?
tongue?
The tongue, right?
Oh yeah.
Thong, it's
I thought we were talking
it's
about
the
something else.
underwear.
Yeah, I know. I'm like,
Tongue.
you can
The
definitely
flip-flops?
replace those.
Our listeners know my accent.
Yeah.
They understand. I don't even need to speak
So wait,
English
so
anymore.
it's Danner and
Yeah, it was a collab
Between
collab thing
Pata-
between
So
Patagonia.
So it's a
and
collab, but it's
Danner.
Danner boots that makes the boots.
you can change
For
out the
Patagonia.
thong. You can change it out.
yeah.
That's
Your
sick.
thong is broken.
That's
Allegedly,
The-
Mitch and everybody, Kiefer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
the last pair of boots you'll ever have to own.
Oh,
So
saying
Which
that
is
to a
bold.
competitive guy is
Right,
pretty
right,
funny. 'cause
right. Bold.
We go through shit all
Yeah.
the time.
Tell that to a guide. Tell that to a
Yeah,
like
well,
a-
exactly.
Tell that to anybody.
Yeah,
who
I think I go
fishes.
through a
it's
pair
bold.
of waders
It's a
a
bold
year.
statement.
Bold statement.
But it's Patagonia. They might just be right. But yeah, Patagonia has always been pretty environmental. They're trying to change things up, to shake things up, and apparently there's a lot of wading boots ending up in the garbage every year.
Yeah, I mean, I will
Uh,
say I own Patagonia boots currently. I've had them for 2 years now, and they're toast. Not
Yeah,
complaining. Love the boots. But they just wading boots just don't last long if you put
I
a lot of hours.
got
on
my
them.
Sims boot for 3 years. They're pretty much toast.
Yeah.
Like,
The
it's
the
just,
one thing I heard about these boots is that there's no shrinkage. So
Oh no way.
Yeah.
like if you
Oh, really?
getting them wet all the time and drying and wet
Yeah.
and drying and wet and drying, and I won't say whose boots I had for a while, but I can't even fit them anymore because
No
they
way.
Oh,
shrunk.
crazy.
Yeah.
leather does that, right? Like
Yeah.
it expands. It's
Now,
just leather.
but
All of the companies are putting out no shrink boots now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no way.
I never
It's-
knew it was
a
an
thing. It was a
I've actually
yeah.
never known that was an issue.
Yeah.
Wild.
But yeah,
There's a freshwater and a saltwater version,
Yeah.
but the saltwater version looks like you could wear them in fresh water.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's built for salt. I'm pretty sure it can handle fresh.
yeah, exactly.
It's
Right?
well, it is a freshwater saltwater. It's not like just a saltwater. It's both.
I thought there were two models.
Yeah, there are two models. There's one at only freshwater, and then there is a
Freshwater,
freshwater. There's a river and
saltwater.
salt. River and salt.
Mm.
It's called. Yeah. So
Well-
they have both.
I ordered some from Rob because I need new boots.
They are
No way.
here.
I do.
They're
too.
here?
They are here.
Oh.
I think.
I'm
I
in the
think.
market. I gotta get some new boots myself.
Yeah. No,
Yeah?
I touched them today. They're great.
They look great.
Oh man. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they do actually look great. As far as good as wading boots can.
What happened? What's happened to your boots? How'd they fall apart?
They shrunk.
No way.
So now, like, I have a bunch of boots, but the ones I'm using are not. I want some new ones.
That's a crazy.
Shrinking boots.
You know
This
what
is
happened-
news. This is breaking news. I've never heard that boots shrunk.
This
This
is
is the
like
news.
Now that, you know what?
expose.
Those boots lasted me a while. It took them a while.
Yeah.
But waders we go through all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Wait.
Oh yeah.
Boots though. You know what happened to my boots? And here's an expose for you. Gab's expose. Going deep undercover. My boots went moldy.
Oh yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
I've had
That's
a
your
rod.
fault.
Yeah. No, that's definitely your fault.
Yeah.
I had
Yeah,
a
it was-
rod. I had a rod go moldy.
Yeah. It was a rod.
Yeah, I stuck it in the sock in the tube wet
Yeah.
and forgot about it.
What?
Yeah.
The
See-
cork mold?
Yeah, the cork got
See,
moldy.
but this is what happened to my boots. It went moldy. But you're right. I put them wet in the trunk of my car for 4
You
months.
leave them in your trunk.
4 months. There you go.
You leave them in your trunk all the time. You never take them out.
Yeah.
Granted, it was the hottest 4 months of the year. Okay, and
Exactly when you want to leave them in the trunk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Granted, and they were covered in algae when I put them in. But and I had them for 10 years. I feel like they shouldn't go moldy. I had them for 10 years.
That sounds gross.
10 years, they treated you pretty well.
But
Yeah.
I did wear them into the friggin' ground.
Yeah, well, that's good. As
Yeah.
long as you use your gear. Well, that's a good thing about Patagonia, right? Like they want you to use your gear for a long time, so
Yeah.
you don't have to make more, therefore impacting the planet more.
I know, right?
Patagonia, like, send us some boots,
But-
all right?
Yeah. Send the
Listen,
checks.
a lot of these companies make really good products, right? Like,
Mhm.
it's all about how you take. These things are investment. The
Yeah.
top of the line boot from any company is a hell of a boot, and it's
Yeah.
how you take care of that
Absolutely.
investment you've made. They're
Do
not,
not
cheap.
put
so-
them in your trunk for 4 months in the heat. Don't do that.
Wet.
No.
Wet.
Yeah. Or dry. Just don't leave them in your trunk.
Going back to your competitive thing, do you have a full set of like backup gear? Like if you
Oh, yeah,
like
I don't
you're
know.
blowing
I got-
out waders, you're like,
No,
oh,
they
I got my
all
backup
they all
waders.
leak.
Yeah.
I don't have a single pair of dry waders.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
fair enough.
But it's we fish the Diab all the time, so
Yeah.
if it's warm enough, I will not wear waders. To be clear, but
Because you'll wreck them.
yeah, there's no point. You just rip them to shreds.
Crazy.
It's nuts, man. That's insane.
Yeah.
So
Gab,
when you roll up to it, oh,
I was gonna say, Gab, that's one hell of a news segment. Is there anything?
Yeah, I
else
was gonna say.
going
So
Uh,
what's the news?
Yeah.
New boots. New boots.
New boots and
and that's it.
yes. Hey, how many days to
Trout
trout opener?
No, that's news.
That is
That
news.
is
What is
news.
it? The third
It-
Saturday in April.
It
Yeah.
is a month plus 15 days
on?
Yeah.
at the time
I'm
of this
itching.
recording.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
time of this airing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my cabin fever set in a lot earlier this year. So my son was born November 26th, but leading up to it, I was taking care of my wife and helping with my other son. and I didn't fish at all at the end of the season. So my cabin fever set in about October,
Yeah.
November.
Last time I wet a line was January 13, and I'm depressed. Yeah, I've done the winter campaign.
I
I'm
envy
just
you.
back from winter campaign.
Yeah.
Now I just want.
The
I
last
just
time
want
I wet a
sunny and-
line was probably June.
Well, that's your own fault. Just don't make babies.
No, I probably fished a
You
pond
brought
or
that on
something.
yourself.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. And I wouldn't change a thing. I just
For
miss,
sure, for sure.
I miss fishing.
That's the way she
Yeah, I
goes.
think I mean, like, also this winter has sucked. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
normally,
February in particular has been
February
tough,
in
my
particular.
God.
Normally February,
Yeah.
I'm like, you can probably get some steelheading in
Yeah.
on the, on the year-round sections of Niagara or the Credit or something, But shit, man, like the weather's been really
Yeah.
bad.
Real serious winter.
So we haven't been like I remember I was definitely steelheading February last year, and I didn't go once this year.
No. Yeah, we were out a year ago. Now for sure.
Yeah,
You know.
Hey, I
shit,
got-
it's
February.
March.
I
It's
got
March.
weather news.
Oh shit.
It's cold as fuck. Thank you very much.
Nice.
This is Gab.
Let me play you out. Wait. Let me
Weather
play
news.
you
Wait,
out.
no, they have send it there.
But this is Gab's not news. This is Gab's fashion segment.
Yeah.
So I got fashion.
Hey, fashion
music.
news.
Yeah.
Fashion news is news.
I just found this music. This is your fashion play.
This is terrible.
Yeah.
No, I don't want
No?
that. I don't want that.
Just put the sex.
That's awful.
Just
It-
just put the sex.
it
in the,
sounds like a
just put the
cheap
Sex and
version of The
City.
Oh, Sex and the
Exorcism.
City.
Shit.
Sex
Put
and
the
the
Sex
City.
and the City.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah,
That's
Sex
a
and the
good-
City. I
that's a
love
good
that show.
fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched all of those seasons.
What of what? Sex and the City?
Yeah, man.
Really?
Hey,
Yeah.
you're not in a relationship for 13 years
Yeah.
without putting some effort. And actually, it's kind of a good
Very
show,
fair.
to be honest.
Very
Yeah.
fair.
Okay.
I'm
well,
a huge
Okay.
chick flicks fan.
Well,
play it
this
out, Gab.
this has been
is this it?
that's not
Hello, this was Fly Fishing News with Gab.
Oh no, I don't like this version of it, Gab. I'm playing you out on the original.
Hey, I'm like-
just use the
All right,
news.
baby,
Just
come
use the
on.
news.
Hit me up,
Okay,
Gab.
thanks,
Sign me
thanks.
out.
All right, this was Fly Fishing News with Gab. Weather statement, it's cold as fuck.
Nice, man.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was just one heck of a news segment.
Yeah, that was a disaster.
Keeper, thanks for sticking it out with us on that one.
I'm
man.
getting
I
less
had to
prepared.
go and say that it was my favorite segment before we started.
Yeah, Keefer was like,
Definitely
"Oh, I love
before.
the news. It's the best
I
segment."
just think it's funny.
Yeah, well, fashion is it's a good one, man. Or utility, I guess. Those boots, they sound sick.
Listen,
Although-
it's always exciting when something new comes on the market,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
totally.
Something new,
And
it
every part can be replaced. That's kind of interesting, right?
That's super interesting.
yeah.
Super cool.
Hopefully, you don't have to go through the process of replacing every part over the life of the boot, but
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
What?
sounds kind of strenuous.
Maybe one quick note on gear. Like when you roll up to a competition, like just because we're talking about gear, how many rods you bringing with you?
it can get crazy.
Yeah.
No, I always bring.
Do you bring
know,
like 3
if it's
backups
local,
of- yeah.
like if it's Eastern Canada, I'll bring way more than I need. And some guys will laugh at me who know me, and I always bring way more than I need. So a river, I'll have 2 nymphing rods, probably a dry rod and a streamer rod,
Wow.
and then I'll have some that are not strung up in case I break something. In a lake, in a competition, there's not if a bank competition, you can have a bunch of rods strung up and you can use any one of them. In a lake, you can only have 1 rod strung up. So in the boat with me, I'll have a backup in case the rod breaks. But changing lines and all that, it's done on 1 rod.
Right. Okay.
All in one rod. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
How many of the same rod do you bring? Like just because like that one breaks, that one broke. Uh-oh.
I have backups of most of my rods. So my go-to lake rod, I've got one in like the exact same. My nymphing rod, I had not the exact same, but the exact feel. Yeah, I've got backups of pretty well everything.
What's your favorite rod? Maybe you've named it.
No, they don't have names, but they should. It feels like something I should
Ex-Rodaber.
do.
No.
I was gonna say like Charlene. Or
Yeah, so
don't know.
I've used lots of different brands over the years, so I won't name a specific brand.
No, it
but
doesn't have to be a brand,
So on
just
the
be
lake,
like-
I use a 10-foot 7-weight
Yeah.
fast action with a sensitive tip.
Yeah.
So the fast action is so you can belt the line, and the tip is so that you're not bouncing fish on
Right.
various levels of takes, whether it be a hard,
Right.
soft, or otherwise take. And then in the river, I kind of differ from a lot of the short line nymphing guys or the Euro nymphing guys.
Yeah.
And I like a short rod, so I use
Oh,
my
interesting.
go-to is like I think it's an 8'9" or a 9 foot. No,
That
a 9.62. That's
9.62.
my favorite rod.
Nice. Okay, that's cool.
Now I use the odd 10.
Yeah.
But I'm particularly it's the Diab that did this to me. Is a longer rod can actually be harder to land a fish in certain water conditions,
Right.
and the Diab is one of those.
Being a short guy, I really enjoy my 10'3", but I kind of wish it was 10'2".
Just get another one.
Yeah, I know. But my 10 foot, I'm enjoying with the 10'3".
Just like choke up on it.
Yeah.
Just hold it kind of like.
Ask Bill to
foot
cut
up.
the tip and put a new.
Bill? Yeah,
Yeah.
Bill.
Yeah,
Bill's a hell of a rod maker. I've
Yeah, he
got 2
is, yeah.
custom rods from him, and he's fixed a bunch of my rods.
Yeah.
I got 2 Thomas and Thomases that he built that are just unbelievable.
Oh yeah. I love that everybody just refers to him as Bill.
Yeah.
There's one of them, and
He's the only Bill.
yeah, it's hilarious, man. So funny.
That's cool. Okay, non-competitively though, like if you weren't what's your favorite way to fish? Like if you didn't have to like worry about nymphing or worry about depth or worry about like boat and fish.
I just want to catch fish, so I worry about all those things, even if it's
Okay.
recreational
Well, never
fishing. Yeah, no, to be honest, I mean,
Yeah.
if I go fish a river, I won't carve up the water the same way I will in a comp.
Right.
I won't approach it exactly the same, but
Yeah.
the fishing technique is the same.
Yep.
In a lake, I will approach it almost like a comp because in a lake, you're just trying to put yourself in
Yeah.
the best position to catch fish.
Right.
And in a lake, the way we fish a lake is with the wind at our back, freely drifting, and you fish in front of the boat, which I think is the best way to cover water. So I would still use the way I would cover water in a competition in recreational fishing, just because it makes the most sense for trying to catch fish.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I was just thinking like maybe I don't know if there's like you compete so often that like sometimes you're just like if I throw another nymph I'm gonna kill myself. So
No,
you
it's
just go,
all
you just
fun.
go out and
It's all-
yeah.
like,
You
it's-
just
see,
go
like,
dry fly
The
fishing.
whole-
when-
I'm a competitive guy
yeah.
by nature, so and I think most of the competitive guys are. So if I could take the sport that I love the most, coupled with my competitive nature, it works out really well.
Well, it's interesting you talk about besides competitive angling, like how do you like enjoy fishing? Because it's sort of like I feel like place comes into that too a little bit. Like favorite places to fish, like you grew up fishing in London. You get out to the Credit, you get out to the Grand, like around the Toronto region ish. But like, do you have any like really like standout favorite places to fish? Like,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah. The one place, and I dream about it regularly, is Manitoba. There's a series of lakes.
You and Colin said the same thing.
Oh, fuck, my God, they're good.
oh yeah.
Yeah. So the Parklands region of Manitoba, where they've been managing it for trophy trout, and so Patterson Lake is one of the few lakes there that are just fantastic. And in training for one of the nationals, I was in the boat with Ian, and I'm bringing in a brown, like a really nice brown, like I'm talking like a maybe 22, 23-inch brown.
Oh, man.
And a brown that I only saw it folded in half, tried to eat it. And I thought to myself, this fucking lake is awesome.
yeah.
So
a
that-
brown trout tried to eat a 23-inch brown trout.
Off my line, yeah. So that
What?
brown, I don't know. I only saw it folded as it was trying to go at the brown, but that's I don't know how big
mental.
it is, but that's a big fucking brown. If a 23-inch brown is
It's only a big brown.
if that's your
like,
lunch, then
that's just like a.
I can't even eat
insane-
that.
so I need to go back there
Yeah.
River monster.
all the time.
It's not even just a big brown. It's like a brown with like the craziest attitude ever.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
listen, browns are angry fish. Like
Yeah.
they are cool, territorial, eat my children fish.
Yeah.
Right.
That's so cool, man. Manitoba's
Not my children, but their children.
Yeah. Except for these fish, maybe they're
Maybe.
.
That fucking brown was big.
Oh yeah, no shit.
So
And
Manitoba.
so this Lake Patterson, I remember another fishing. This was actually in the competition, but this was a rainbow. It's just a fucking angry rainbow, and it was maybe only 20 inches or something.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
it spooled me.
Only 20 inches.
Well, lake fish are, in
You're
Manitoba,
right, you're
they're
right.
fucking big.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Spooled me in front of me,
Yeah.
then came back right at me, and I'm going like
yeah.
mad trying to catch up with the fish. Then it goes under the boat, so I got the fucking rod under the boat
Oh,
in
my
front of the
God.
boat, and then it spools me out the back.
Yeah.
And then it spools me out the side. Then it goes under the motor. And all the while, the guy beside me is like, "Oh, I pray that he loses this fish."
Yeah.
I could just feel that. Like
Yeah,
this guy's like,
yeah,
"Oh, he's
yeah.
gonna lose this fish. This fish is kicking his ass."
Yeah.
And that was probably the best rainbow I've ever caught.
Oh,
It was
Wow.
fucking awesome.
Mitch's
lake.
Mitch's favorite fish?
rainbows. And on
Love
a
'em.
lake, too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Man.
Yeah, and so that's another fish. Like you get an angry one.
Yeah.
Like that's what's kept some people away from steelheading.
Yeah.
Is because they can be angry
Yeah.
and they will just blow your shit up.
It will, man. In a scary way.
Yeah.
In a
Yeah.
scary, intimidating, panicky way.
Yeah. It's like so. And another fish that will just blow your shit up. Carp.
Yeah.
So
It's like you
Ian
hear it.
James used to run a carp competition in the Hamilton Harbor.
Yeah.
And if you've ever looked into the water in the Hamilton Harbor, there's these mutant fish that are
Yeah.
just gigantic. Like we're talking like 50-pound carp.
Right.
And he just wanted to string up a bunch of guys on a pier
Yeah.
and watch them break their rods on gigantic carp that tried to run to the U.S.
yeah.
Keep hitting this.
That's okay.
So they, a carp, just the straight line for the end of time.
Right.
Oh, my God.
And there's nothing stopping them in that lake.
It's just open water,
That's what I'm
right?
saying. They,
Yeah,
just-
yeah.
they want to go to Buffalo
Yeah.
Oh my
or wherever
God.
it is.
They're the only thing that wants to go to Buffalo.
Yeah, they want to go to Rochester.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've hooked one in the arbor. I was just I've basically
Sorry to
Um,
everybody who lives in Buffalo.
yeah trailing a woolly bugger. I'm like walking the shore of
Yeah.
Toronto Arbor,
Yeah.
and then it just stopped me, and then I looked and I was
Just
like,
wait.
I just arrived in Toronto. All I had was a 5 weight, and
Oh,
there's
boy.
like this like
What an
20
awesome
pound.
introduction.
Yeah, that was
Toronto.
I'm like, oh, that must be a pike, and then I look and I'm like, holy shit, this is not.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I never landed. Like I had like
No,
a
not
one-handed
on a
like
5
net
weight.
like this
No.
big.
A Great Lake
I had
carp
to snap.
on a 5
I had
weight,
to
no
snap
chance.
my line. Like,
Yeah.
oh no, but I had it for a good like 20 minutes. But
Like-
it was carrying a fucking salad in its face too. Like there was no way. I was like,
Just wait.
people like stop me on the street. I'm like on the phone. I call Chantal. I'm like,
So you're fighting
This
a
is the
fish.
best
on
day
the
of
phone.
fighting the
my
fish,
life.
and I call my wife. I'm like, Chantal, and you wouldn't believe what's going on right now.
Yeah.
And she's like, and you're talking on the phone. I'm like, yeah, I'm just holding the rod up. Like,
You're on the
there's
phone.
n-
People are watching. 50-pound
Yeah,
carp.
yeah.
Bunch of, what a scene.
And then people are like, oh, what are you catching here? I'm like, I don't know. This is huge. Like, yeah, and I had to snap the line.
They're
There's no
fun.
way. Yeah,
They're
yeah.
a lot of fun, and they're smart. They're
Yeah.
like it's rare that they'll chase a woolly bugger and eat like that. But you got to use
That's why I didn't
super
think it was.
super small tippet. They're very very spooky.
It's pretty crazy.
They're fun and a challenge.
The Grand River is where most of my carp fishing
Yeah.
happened, but I haven't done it really for the last 2 years. Like,
I've heard people talk about them as like freshwater bone fish.
Oh yeah, because they just run.
because
Yeah.
they're head down and they're
Yep.
looking down,
And you
then
kind of
gotta-
sight fish them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know? Yeah.
and you gotta
Thwack.
cast basically like
I mean,
right
people
in
in
front
Michigan
of their
use
face.
flats boats to get them.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
nuts, man. It's like you can fish 50-pound, 40-pound fish.
Beaver Island
In Ontario.
on Lake Erie. It's like a huge destinations for like they have a lodge I think on the island for carp.
Wow,
Oh
that's
yeah,
cool.
people come from
Yeah,
all
yeah,
over
yeah.
the world. They come from Europe where
Yeah,
carp
to fly
fishing
fish for
is like a
carp.
real thing.
Carp is
Yeah.
huge there, right?
Yeah,
Europe? Yeah.
big.
That's an eating fish there too.
Oh,
Here
yeah.
it's like a trash fish, but they're
Yeah.
Although I'm sure that attitudes have changed
Yeah.
here.
That's crazy, man. That's
big
nuts.
time.
That's nuts. Yeah, carp is cool. We got to go after some carp this year.
No, you guys got to go to Manitoba.
Yeah.
You guys
Yeah,
got to go to Manitoba. and do a
You
segment
have
there.
to take us to Manitoba.
Yeah, come
in
with
a
us.
heartbeat. Ian and
Let's
I
go
talk
to
about
Manitoba
all. So
together.
recreational fishing.
Yeah.
Me and the guys, what we talk about is we talk about going to Manitoba.
Oh, yeah.
That's what Colin was saying, and we were all like, Manitoba.
Yeah.
And we're like,
Best kept
Manitoba.
Middle of fucking nowhere, Manitoba.
That's cool, man. I love that. I
Yeah.
love the idea of that.
Oh, the fishing is incredible.
Yeah.
There's a tiger trout lake.
That's exactly what I was about to ask you.
Yep. And I'm struggling to remember the name of it now. But
That's okay.
It's,
It-
you know what? It's fine.
It's better.
Yeah, yeah. Let's keep that for ourselves.
no, listen. This place doesn't get a lot of traffic. They could
Yeah,
use
yeah.
more tourism. I think the fishery can handle it, particularly people who are practicing catch and release and doing it well.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, the good thing, too, is if you're listening this far into the show, you probably are.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably true.
Yeah. Tiger trout, I mean, super cool looking fish.
Yeah, and you want to talk about angry trout, then wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Like fight well.
So, who was I with? My buddy Kim Root. We were on one of the southwestern Ontario rivers, and I hooked into a tiger trout, which we didn't know at the time, but it beat the shit out of me. And I was on a little 2-weight, but the 2-weight, and the thing is corked.
Yeah.
And then we finally get it in, and it was only like, I don't know, like 10 inches.
Oh, man.
And we thought it was a monster until we got it in, and it was like, wow, that's a...
But you said brown trouts are really aggressive, really territorial. So are brook trout.
Yeah.
So a tiger trout.
Yeah,
is,
but they
it's a
get
brook
tired.
trout.
I think brook trout get tired pretty
Yeah, but it's still kind of like pretty aggressive. Like
Yeah, trout
where I
generally
grew
are
up,
very
a good
aggressive,
fly
right?
for brook trout is a brook trout fly.
quick. Yeah.
So like
Tigers,
they
though,
are
man.
kind of
Tigers
aggressive.
Are nuts, though.
Yeah, they're cool.
So the
They're
two
cool.
together, that must be a pretty good mix.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What is it again? Tiger trout? It's a mix between a
Brown and a brook trout.
Yeah, I think
Is
it's
that right?
Brown and a brook.
brown and brook, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
nuts, man. Manitoba sounds insane.
Oh, it's awesome. They have some really, really great lakes.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's cool. It's yeah. You don't like you think Manitoba. You don't necessarily think.
No,
like,
you think
trout.
walleye and
You know,
pike.
yeah,
and
like big
things like that.
pikes
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
Like it's a big pike destination.
No, but
and
this
stuff, but
particular area, a couple communities kind of got together and started managing these lakes for trophy trout.
okay.
And so they found genetics that grow big, and they brought them in and they've fixed up the lakes. Some of them have aerators.
Yeah.
They've really done a fantastic job.
And
of-
is it a catch and release fishery, and that's why they're so big, or they're just
I'm
just big
fairly
in general?
certain. I hope they're all catch and release. They might not be. Sometimes it's tough to get some of that tourism up, and
Sure, yeah.
they're trying to build tourism there. There's not a lot of
Yeah.
stuff going on where they are.
Yeah.
I think they're. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I don't even pay attention to whether it's catch and release because I just always default to catch
Yeah.
and release.
Sure, yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds like an amazing fishery, so I think they won't have any problems getting people out there.
Let's go check it out.
Let's go check it out, man. That sounds
Make some
rad.
phone calls, man.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. I remember seeing a little bit of that stuff on the new Fly Fisher years ago.
Oh yeah,
They
Oh,
fished
yeah?
a tiger trout lake up there, and it looked really, really,
that's
really
probably
rad.
the same one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, what's that, Yilma?
Yelma,
Just a
please.
second here. I'm gonna get my microphone and I'm gonna put it in front of Yilma's face. 'Cause
Yelma's
he's just
still
saying
here,
things.
and he is dying to say
Every
something.
time
He's dying to say something.
Every time we talk
Get
about
him on the
fishing,
mic. Let's go.
Get him on. here.
Yilma, what is up with Manitoba?
Our mutual friend Dane, Dane Cameron. I work
Yeah.
with him. He comes to tie flies with us at left field. He's a big supporter of
He's the bomb.
what we're doing, and
He's
he's
the
from
bomb.
Manitoba, and he's trying to bring us out there for the longest
And his
time.
dad's
So,
rad too.
His dad is so knowledgeable, so we'll just stay with him.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Thanks, Dane. We'll
Sounds
set
rad.
your place.
that's all I want to say, folks.
I love it, man. Yelma Campbell, ladies and gentlemen.
Yelma Campbell.
Nice.
I think, you know what I think it's time for now? I think it's time for that time in the show.
Just want to say one thing
Oh,
though.
please, yeah, baby.
Every time we talk about a sick fly fishing destination,
Yeah.
Yelma pops in. I know someone that lives there. We have a
That
place
is
to
true.
stay."
Actually, we're like, oh, it'd be so great
Very-
to maybe one day go to Belize. And he's like, oh, actually, a guy I went to OCAD with, who I'm best friends with, is a guide at a tarpon lodge
Very
in
good
Belize.
point.
And we're like, what?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah.
Yo, here's the best, though.
With Simon Gauze, we're talking about Africa, and he's oh yeah,
That's
I
what
have
I
a
was gonna
friend in
say.
Africa. I'm like,
We're like, man,
why
we're
is
like,
that the first time we're here about this?
We're like, dude, the Zambezi River would be radical. And Yelma's just like, yeah, my buddy is a guide on the Zambezi. It'd be so cool to
Actually.
fish with him.
Those are two. Like,
Sounds like you got lots of places to go, man.
That's what I'm saying.
we,
And there's-
we haven't been to any of them.
there's
So
like a-
we don't know if it's true
So
or not.
let's knock off Manitoba. I'll go with you guys.
Let's do
Okay.
it.
Okay,
man.
Okay, let's do that.
There's
Let's do it.
there's also a brief moment where we might have gone to Dubai because of Dubai tourism wanted us to fly fish. It still might happen, but anyway, I don't want to jinx anything.
That sounds cool.
and
what
Yilma's
what
like
kind of fishing they got there?
queenfish. And,
Saltwater stuff.
Yeah.
and Yilma's like, oh, you know what? Actually, my friend owns a place in Dubai, and we could just stay there. And I was like, what? The
You got a
Zambezi,
place in Dubai. It's probably pretty
Zambezi,
nice too.
Belize, Dubai.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
A villa
But
in
first,
Dubai.
though, which is the most important and best, is Manitoba.
Manitoba.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Like I
Dane, we're coming
I've
over.
probably had 15 or 20 dreams this winter about Patterson Lake.
Oh, man. Fuck. Let's go right now. What are we doing with
Patterson
our lives?
Lake. Let's
It's,
go.
listen, you think
Turn the
it's-
microphones
You think
up.
it's cold here?
Yeah, man.
That's a good point, actually.
Turn the microphones off.
Let's go. That's a good point, man. All right, Mitchie's Fishies time.
Oh.
Mitchie's Fishies.
So at the end of every episode, and we say the end, but it sometimes lasts 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Mitch,
Yeah,
Mitch,
okay.
Mitch asks, like 5.
I think I answered one of them already.
Good job.
Manitoba.
Ooh.
Yeah, probably.
I'm a fan, right? Like, I know Mitchie's Fishies.
Yeah, that's
Keeper,
you've
thanks, man.
answered that one. Yeah,
It was so funny. We were at a bar, and this guy walks up to Mitch, and he's like, "Hey, Mitchie's Fishies 5," and we're like, "What?"
That's fucking awesome.
that
really?
was,
Yeah,
that was like the
awesome.
coolest
And you didn't
SoFly
know the
moment.
guy.
No,
That was the,
Come on.
no, that was the greatest.
That was the greatest SoFly moment.
No, that was the best.
You blush a little bit, I'm
Yeah.
sure. That's fantastic.
when was that?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
It was like a
Couple
month
months
ago
ago,
or something.
yeah.
But
Okay.
Yeah.
it's awesome when people come up to the river and be
Yeah.
like, oh, and it's so great that you said it. Like, thank you for saying that you're a fan and stuff, and that's awesome. But you don't expect it on the river, but it's not out of place on the river. Randomly at a bar in downtown Toronto, and
Yeah,
some guys
yeah.
like Mitch's fishy's fine. We're like,
I'm like,
okay.
fuck yeah. That's
Well, you
awesome.
guys have been doing you guys and Drift. You guys are doing some events at left field and all this. Like that's pretty
We're
fantastic.
trying to be there. You know,
Yeah.
as
I
much
think
as we
I
can.
think
Super
because
cool.
we have a lot of people might look at Toronto and be like, it's not an obvious fishing destination, but what we do have working for us is a population. And what we also have working for us is we've got really cool things going on in the city, like
man.
craft breweries.
Yeah, yeah.
There's so
Like
many
the
people.
studio we're in right now,
Yeah, man,
and
this is
So
awesome.
many
a lot of
people,
people
man.
there's a lot more people that like. I'm in food and beverage. There's a lot more people that fly fish than you think.
There's so many
So
people.
Rob
that
and
fly
I have
fish.
talked about this a lot. We struggle to get new competitive anglers, and
Yeah.
I say this sitting in the largest, most populated city in the country, next to some great water. And somehow, sometimes when we've put on comps in Ontario, we struggle to get numbers. And both Rob and I are scratching our heads, like, what are we doing wrong? Like, I don't know. I mean, there's been some guys who have put in a lot of effort into building out comps in Ontario, and it's been a real challenge. So I think we're gonna. I mean, wasn't gonna mention it, but I think we're gonna start slowly, but we're gonna do some more consistent comps in Ontario, a little more organized.
Do you
But yeah,
It's a great idea. That's a great idea.
It's a great idea. I was gonna ask and this can just be opinion without like you don't have to it doesn't have to be
in the show.
on the no it could be on the show. I just don't mean like it doesn't have to be empirical or on the record or whatever, but in your opinion, what do you think we could do better, or like how do you think we can get more people interested? Just doing it more?
yeah. I think frequency of events certainly helps.
Right.
I mean, listen. You guys, I've said it to you guys. You guys are doing really great things for the sport. You attract new eyes. You're doing interesting things. You're covering a lot of different areas of the sport. So it'll, there's going to be something over the course of what you guys do in a year. There's going to be something that appeals to, I think, any kind of subsegment of how somebody might be interested in the sport, and maybe you pull that next person in. Yeah, I mean, there's lots. I mean, Rob, Drift, local fly shops, they're doing a lot of great things. I
definitely
mean,
busts his ass.
Rob
for
is
sure.
doing
Oh, yeah.
more than anybody I've seen in years for the sport.
He probably
Yeah.
works
Um,
in his sleep
Oh,
to
he
make
100% he
fly
does.
fishing
It's-
happen in
it's-
Ontario. Like,
Yeah.
It is really,
Yeah,
really great
100%.
what he does.
Yeah.
So all that stuff, it's going to pay off.
Yeah.
Might be a longer tail to it, but it's going to pay off.
Definitely. Yeah. No, that's a great.
So now
idea.
we got to put up the event so that
Right.
Yeah.
we can maybe capitalize on some of that new interest.
Yeah, for sure.
and like those are competition event, but it's for everyone. Is that
Yeah.
my understanding?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. You don't have to be that amazing. Just
Be part
of
no,
it. Be
absolutely.
part of it,
Listen,
you know?
the first time you go to an event, it's going to be tough. You'll be nervous, and you're going to see people catching fish all around you, and whether doesn't matter how many fish you catch, but it will be tough and intimidating. But if you can stick it out and come to the next few ones after that, and listen, I really doubt that you're not going to have a good time. I'm 100% sure you're going to learn a lot. And don't be shy. Like, talk to some of the guys there if you go to an event, and they're all going to share with you and tell you what they're doing, what's going on.
Yeah.
So
No, it's true. And you know what? I doing this stuff and like just being in fly fishing and stuff like that. Like, there's a total positive like movement towards like it's like much more like inclusive like sport now. I mean, like I remember years ago, when this sort of like internet fly fishing stuff started, you had people like April Vokey and like these people that kind of paved a little bit of the way in terms of content and stuff like that, which was really, really cool. But the last couple of years, we've been seeing so many more people be able, because it's the accessibility, be able to take pictures and put them on Instagram and show the way they fish. And it's really cool to see that stuff sort of growing, you know?
yeah.
that
Yeah.
helps building a culture around
Definitely.
like a subculture.
Yeah.
And
A
I
real
I think
culture.
over the years
Yeah.
there's been a bit of a pushback from maybe an environmental or maybe not environmental, but sustainability perspective. Like, people think you're going to hurt the fishery. Most of the people in competitive fishing, like a very high percentage of them, are probably some of the best, most effective people when it comes to catch and release and bringing in a fish in a timely manner, releasing that fish in a timely manner, handling that fish appropriately.
You tend to fish, and I don't want to devalue a stocked fish's life, or any fish's life for that matter, but you do tend to stick to stocked waterways. Is that
For the most
true?
part, yeah. Like, so when we plan,
Again, not to
comps,
devalue the lives of those fish.
you know, we've talked about doing it on the credit, and we're generally shied away from that. Like, but the Grand, you know, I mean, it's a government-funded fishery. Like, and
That's a crazy, awesome fishery.
yeah, and listen, I think the events we've had there over the years have been really successful. We had nationals there, was it early last year, and I thought it was a great event. And the volunteers, the people around it, the people from the community, I think really enjoyed it. Like when, I mean, I've volunteered at events early on, and you learn a ton just doing that. Like if you're interested but maybe not ready to participate, then volunteer at an event and control it, and you get to see what all the best people in the country are doing. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So I think there is a segment of people that think, you know, either not on my river or not, you know, it's going to harm the river in some shape, way, or form. There really couldn't be anything further from the truth, I think.
Yeah. No, that's great to hear. I mean, yeah, for people that don't know. Mitchie's Fishies time?
Yes, please.
5 questions, baby. Mitchie's Fishies. Here we go. Okay. Aldo, what do you got, baby?
I thought of a new one too.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
No, it does.
No, I'm game.
Yeah.
5, 6.
No. I just,
What is it?
I kind of already asked it when he was talking about his gear. I thought it might be fun to know what your favorite fly rod was.
Oh, right, yeah.
Like, I mean, like ever. Like you're like, I miss old Rusty or whatever. It was like your first.
Okay, so old
it was
Rusty.
like your first.
I gave it to. I've given it to my
like that.
father-in-law.
Yeah.
But old Rusty is
just-
gray. The first Gray's GRX they ever put out.
Yeah.
It was probably maybe a 9.5 or 6.
Yeah.
First rod I ever had. Ian James told me to order it. I had to order it from Scotland. And fuck, it was just the perfect action. Like it was before nymphing rods became a thing. Before the first proper nymphing rod was probably the Gray Streamflex, which is a fucking phenomenal rod. I've got a bunch of them.
Oh yeah.
But so the Gray's GRX, that was my first rod.
Yeah, and you just love it.
Oh, beautiful casting rod. Had all the sensitivity you need for nymphing.
Yeah.
Enough power to mend, you know, heavy long casts.
It's funny how
Yeah,
that
it's a good
works. Yeah. It's oftentimes those cheap B, firsty rods,
Yeah, that
you know?
rod probably cost me, I don't know, $150, $200 or something.
Yeah.
Which doesn't sound all that cheap, but in the world of rods, that's pretty cheap.
Oh, yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yilma currently has in his quiver one of my favorite rods that I've ever had.
Which one?
It's that Reddington 10'7" that he has.
Oh, yeah.
I have a loop 10'7" now that I absolutely adore.
Yeah.
But
I've
put more fish on that rod than any other rod.
That's the way it goes, man.
I had a really
It's got a
old
little
Reddington
it's got a
rod.
divot. It's got a divot in the cork.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I broke it. I broke it in somewhere.
Yeah.
I broke it so that the one of the ferrules had to be replaced, so it's like a little bit shorter than 10 feet. It's just like there's all these little weird things, and Yilma has it. It's the legacy of that rod. Now lives on with
Nice.
Yilma.
So another old Rusty.
Yeah.
One of my mainstay. So I had a tough year last year. I broke both my lake rods
Yeah.
early in the year, which is another reason I didn't fish a lot. Because it's a long story.
Yeah.
One of these lake rods had
Painful.
the perfect thumb divot
Oh,
in
man.
right at the top of the full Wells grip.
That's work.
And like my thumb sat there so beautifully. And
Yeah.
the replacement, I'm gonna have to work for like 10 years to fix it.
Yeah. Get that thumb
Yeah,
placement back.
that's
Oh,
thumb
man.
hole.
That's like I've got a Daiwa Heartland, and it's my favorite rod. It's a 6-weight Daiwa Heartland, and they don't make them anymore. And it was like $100, and it's thumb divot.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's, it's just like a rad rod to fish. I love it, man. Okay, what is your favorite fish and why?
This is Mitchie's Fish. Now we're in Mitchie's Fishes 5.
This is the beginning.
Mitchie's
Not that
fishies.
pesky.
No, this
pesca-
is-
that's not that pesky pescatory.
I like the
bonus,
pesky pescatory
the
bonus
pesky
question.
the bonus round.
It's got to be the brown trout.
Yeah, the brown.
trout, yep.
Yeah.
Um,
Why?
I think of the trout species.
Yeah.
Why? It is the cool whip. It's the
Whip.
Whip.
it's probably it feels like the smartest trout of the trout species.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're hard fighting, they're aggressive,
Yep.
but they're also difficult to catch in a number of scenarios. But then in still water, they feed differently than other trout. So they'll feed vertically up the column versus horizontally. So rainbow
Okay.
trout only look in front of them and above them.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Brown trout will go up and down the water
Whoa.
column. And brook trout are super territorial and will kind of stick to
to-
their area.
yeah.
Now, brown trout will also have their territory and stick to their area depending on the time of the year. But if they're out in open water, they will often feed vertically, which is kind of cool. And it
Super
changes
cool.
how you have to approach them in lakes.
Yeah.
Brown
Wow.
trout are so cool. Like on that note, in terms of territory, I mean, you're working a fly shop. You don't know what's fact or fiction. You know what I mean? But somebody was telling us that they tagged some of the browns in the Credit River, and some of them travel kilometers a day, and then return to the same spot.
Yeah, and then my guess is that's at night.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
travel at night and to feed,
Yeah.
and like kilometers, and then come right back.
Oh,
to
that's
the
so
same
cool,
home.
though.
Yeah.
That's so fucking
They have
cool.
their log, you know.
To
Like
go
they-
eat mice.
Oh, yeah.
Free
They'll
from
eat some
birds.
big stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's no birds hunting them at that point, right? I
Yeah.
guess is the idea.
Yeah, so I mean, well, it comes back to a bunch of the fundamentals around fishing. Like, you got a nice cloudy day. It's a good day to go fishing.
Yeah.
True.
That's cool, man. Okay, brown trout. I love it. That's a great answer.
I'm sure it's a common answer.
Every
It is, but you know what?
Amongst the
I feel like
competitors.
we gotta start a tally.
But
and
that's the thing.
and
Like, it is, but in the sense of the way you explained it, because lakes and they explore water column,
we've never heard that before.
Yeah.
and that's super cool. I love that.
But
Yeah, and
all-
listen, rainbows will be at different
Sure,
depths
sure, yeah,
based
sure.
on, temperature and oxygen content.
But rainbows
and
are
stuff.
lame, and I hate them.
no, yeah. Oh my god.
I don't know, man. That rainbow on Patterson kicked my ass.
I don't know, man.
I like
Yeah,
that
sure,
rainbow.
I guess. But that brown though ate another brown. So
Well, I tried.
I think all those favorite
Which
fish
that
are
brown that almost got eaten was in the 20 inches.
It happens,
Right.
man.
Yeah, man.
Rainbow trout don't do that.
That's
don't bring
it's
it.
a great
This
answer.
is an open wound for Keefer.
No, it's like I need to go back to that exact spot, and I know exactly where that is. And
Yeah.
as soon as my feet and my ass hits a boat on Patterson Lake, I am
Slammed.
beelining for that spot.
That's
Well, this segues nicely into Mitchie's fishies too.
Yeah, I have no, and this is the one where I just have no. Usually, we have a sense of what the person will say because we know where they're from, we know what they like, we know kind of what they're gonna say about this answer. Because we talk to them, they come from this region, they come from that region. This one is if you could fish anywhere in the world right now, where would it be? And I have no idea what you're.
None
gonna
of us have
not
any
Nate,
idea.
no.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's not
I'm
Patterson Lake in Manitoba.
like write down. Do you happen to know the GPS coordinates?
Yeah, no, I could pinpoint it on a map. You bring it up. Yeah, so Patterson, for sure.
I would have known.
Yeah, and if it's not that, I mean, like the long-term dream before I ever fished Patterson,
Yeah.
the dream before that would probably be like the Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia,
Oh, yeah, that's
Whoa,
my man.
That's crazy.
where you know.
Have you been?
No.
Okay.
God, no, it's a bucket list.
Yeah, yeah.
But there are more grizzly bears or whatever type of bear they have than anywhere in the world because there's so many fucking fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can eat.
Right.
Oh
They-
my
like,
God.
yeah, they're living well.
Of course they can eat. They're
Everything
eating
in
dumb
Kamchatka is
rainbows.
cool. It's the place.
No, rainbows.
They're eating those dumb rainbows. You know.
Oh my god.
Yeah, rainbows.
That is a crazy.
We hit the lottery.
Yeah.
We're getting a helicopter.
Yeah.
We're in.
from
Kamchatka.
the 50s Soviet Union.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some big
or maybe
workhorse
a
helicopter.
slightly more modern. You know?
Well, don't go to Kamchatka.
No, you don't want the new.
Because that's all they got.
You don't want a brand new helicopter.
No.
No, you want something that's been going for years.
Yeah.
You go to the river by tank or 1960s helicopters.
Yeah.
Everybody romanticizes the helicopter. I would love the APC drop off.
Right?
What's that?
Armored personnel carrier.
Well,
Yeah, nice.
you kind of make fun about like the old helicopter, but the plane that we took for at the
I know.
they bought it at a museum.
I love.
They were like, oh,
I
this
look for that,
looks
man,
like
yeah.
it could fly.
The guy
still.
was filing the blades.
Yes.
like
love
you
that.
file nails. I was like, okay.
No, it was great.
Alright.
It was great.
So that's a thing.
It's
Yeah.
a thing.
It was you got your buckle on? We only live one.
Kamchatka.
Kamchatka's
Kamchatka?
great.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
if,
Where did you hear about?
Patterson aside?
Yeah, where'd you hear about what got you amped on that?
Uh,
Pictures of video.
So it would have
or-
been some. I mean, Gab and I were talking about various magazines over the break, but over the years I've had subscriptions to a bunch of the different ones, and I can't remember which one it was, but it was around the time that I think the state or Russia opened it up. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't nobody could ever go there before. And then they opened it up and people started going fishing there, and you hear these stories of, just rivers teeming with steelhead and then giant resident rainbows and I think Atlantic salmon. I can't remember where it is, but salmon runs probably.
Yeah, there's like Chinooks, there's Pacific salmon that runs there, and it just looks like a rad place.
So gnarly.
Yeah. And nobody, I don't know, maybe a couple hundred people have fished there so far. I don't know, maybe it's 1,000, but it's not a lot.
It's also pretty big, so even if it's a lot of people.
That's a great answer, man. It's a great answer. And an answer we've never heard before. And pairing that with Patterson, Manitoba, amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
We got to go to Manitoba.
Yes.
Yeah, like yesterday.
Yeah, man. Okay, we got another one here. What is your best fishing memory?
It's, yeah.
Dig deep, man. Take your time.
No, it's a pretty easy one.
Yeah.
So it comes back to
Patterson Lake. Sorry.
No, yeah. It was the 2016 Commonwealth Fly Fishing Championships where we won the gold medal, and a bunch of Canadians won gold, silver, and bronze individually.
Yep.
We won that comp with the largest margin in the comp's history.
Yeah.
The first international team medal for Canada. My proudest moment as a fly fisherman, as a competitive fly fisherman, and I did it
Cool.
with all my best friends. So it was
Super
fucking
rad, man.
awesome.
That's super rad. What did it feel like, that accomplishment?
Unreal. That moment is frozen in time for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it more so because that experience was shared?
Yeah, I mean, with my best buddies,
Yeah.
And we worked really hard to make sure we nailed that, and the fishing conditions were tough, and I mean, you're competing against some of the best guys in the world. Not, it's not the world level, so you don't have Spain, you don't have the Czechs, you don't have a bunch of the really, really top level guys. But listen, these are some of the best guys in the world, and we've competed against them in England and did okay. And the boys went to Ireland last year and did really, really well. But that gold medal was,
Yeah.
that's the tops.
See,
pretty
that's
big deal.
competitive,
That's
man.
cool.
That's competitive angling right there.
That gold medal sits in my
Hey,
front hall.
congrats
And-
for
That's
the gold
cool,
medal.
man. That is
Yeah, that was
cool.
fun. Listen, Colin won the individual gold medal. Like Colin that's what.
Yeah, forget
He's
him.
one
I don't
fishy
care.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
No, but listen, it's really cool.
Yeah.
I think we had 2 individual international medals in our history before then,
Yeah.
and then we walked away from that with a team medal and 3 individuals. Like it was a
awesome.
sick event.
That's a cool thing. That's the cool thing to me about competitive angling and the camaraderie and the team aspect of it, is that you can have a moment like that that's just, like you say, forever burned in your brain, where it was just like, it couldn't been, you worked your ass off and you just fucking won, and it was just like, damn, like that is pretty rad, man.
That was a fun event.
It's an awesome
fun
feeling and an awesome moment. I love that. That's a great memory.
Yeah, and you get to win with your friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
No,
pretty cool.
camaraderie is a huge thing, man. Okay, number 4.
Mitchies, fishies, 4.
Why do you fly fish? Why fly fish at all?
More of an existential question. Or maybe not. Maybe you just like the Tim Hortons on the drive.
No,
Which I do.
it's-
Which I do.
I do too, actually.
I find it incredibly relaxing.
Yeah.
I live in Toronto, a fast-paced city. I got a bit of a fast-paced job, and fly fishing just, you lose all that. It just takes the edge off.
Yeah. That's a great answer.
Yeah, I can do what you do.
Well, Yilma, you're a creative director. I mean, you have a pretty busy job too.
relative. Oh, yeah, it's fucked up too. That's why I fly fish.
You almost stressed out when you ask him what kind of, like, what are you taking in your coffee? And he's like, I don't know the answer to this right now.
You're like, Yilma, what's the temperature? He's like, I don't know, man. My weather app isn't working.
Yeah, but what's your favorite fish? Fish? Yeah, man. We're a
Fish
fly
have
fishing
scales?
podcast.
Hey, Yilma, what you did last night? What? Why are you asking?
Yilma, can I divulge?
No.
No? Okay.
The fishing scale thing?
Yilma
Yes.
just found out that all fish have scales.
He thought rainbow trout were scaleless, much like
He thought
catfish,
Oh, yeah.
because they're so soft. Which is fair enough, but at the same time, like, not. They have scales, bro.
It's not a terrible mistake, like you fish for small rainbows,
I'm
small
not even on
browns.
this podcast.
You know.
Oh, you're on it.
Oh, you're right. Well, you're on it.
Yeah,
now.
you
No,
are.
you
on
listen.
it, baby.
It's like all things in life.
We're all in this.
Learn something new every day.
I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know fonts in the way you know fonts. I know fonts pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that answer, man. Why do you fly fish? That's great. 100%. Relaxation's a great.
Yeah.
And being in Toronto, working financial. Yeah. Number 5 is my favorite Mitchie's Fishy. I think it's all our favorites.
Yeah, it's easily.
It's a great question because, and it's, yeah, I mean, like, it's just like, it sort of is just like, I think we're gonna do something with these responses one day. This question is, what fly pattern represents you best and why?
Oh, that's kind of funny. I got 2 answers.
Yeah.
Not really allowed, but you're.
Yeah, no, sorry. No, I'm splitting it up
No,
because it's
split
rivers,
it.
rivers,
Split it.
Although
Yeah.
don't tell him
And
how to live.
rivers and lakes.
Rivers and lakes. I love it.
So the lake.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start with that because it's got less of a story. But the lake is Dave Downey's damsel pattern. And Dave Downey is one of the best lake fishermen in the world.
Yeah.
He came up with a specific damsel pattern that fishes kind of a really special way.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think Ian was learning from him, showed him the pattern and said, this is how you fish it. You retrieve it this way.
Yeah.
And some other people are like, well, why don't I retrieve it the way I've been retrieving other damsels? It's, no, this is one of the best fishermen in the lake.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you just do
Just
what
listen.
he says?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
and I've, you know, when I've got somebody better than me, yeah, just do what the fuck he says.
Yeah,
Like, he knows what
totally.
he's talking about. So
Great advice.
I
Makes
just
sense.
fucking
Great
stick
advice.
to that fly and that specific retrieve with that fly because it only really has one retrieve.
Yep.
And it fucking kills it.
Yeah.
Like unbelievable destruction of the lake. So it's that is
Destruction.
I love it.
yeah,
I love
no, I
that.
mean, it
Dave
has
Downey's
produced more
Dave.
fish in lakes for me in the last 10 years than anything else on the lake.
Oh, man.
And then in the river, I've got a fly that I developed when I was learning in the Czech Republic from some guys, from some material that I get from those guys. And like ask Chris, this fly drives him nuts.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a name. I've just been tying it for the last 10 years.
Oh, no way.
And it's just a nymph that, yeah, I have it in
It's
two
got a certain
colors.
look
and
to
that's
it. What does
yeah.
it look like?
So one of them is a March brown and one of them is a caddis color.
Yeah.
And it's just a pretty simple. It's got a pheasant tail. It's got a March brown body of a particular synthetic material that. Well, I just tell you guys, it's Antron, so it holds oxygen. So when it's in, like you drop it in a glass of water, it'll have a bubble of air
Bubbles.
around it.
Yeah.
And then it has 2 specific types of material as a collar. It's a very simple fly, but it just crushes it.
That's fucking rad. That's really cool that it's like a sort of a no-name crusher.
Yeah, and it
fly.
takes me 2 seconds to crank it out, which is why I really love it.
Now, the thing is, that's fucking awesome. But the thing is, so between those two, it's your legacy. You've got your gravestone. You're looking at your gravestone. They say you put your fly on your gravestone.
Oh yeah, it's the fly that has no name.
That's the one you pick?
Yeah, because I made it. It's mine.
Oh, I love that. That's great.
The other
fly
one.
that
The
has
other
no
one is
name.
Dave Downey's. This one, if you're gonna put it on
fly
my
that
tombstone,
has
it may as well
no
be my
name.
fucking fly.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. That's great. I love
So
the
guy's
the
joke.
name.
It's called the I don't know what do they call it? The Keefer fly. I don't know. It's some stupid name.
Now that is cool,
No,
man.
it's a no. It's, yeah.
The fly of
The
no, the fly that has no name.
Yeah,
I love
that's how I've always referred to it. Yeah.
It's beautiful. That's really awesome.
What was that, Yilma?
What's that, Yilma?
Wait. What was that,
coming
Yilma?
in?
Sounds poetic.
Oh yeah, okay, right on. Thanks, man. That's it for Mitchie's Fishies 5, man.
Nice.
And those are wicked answers.
That was fun.
I love those so much, and I want to go Manitoba. Now.
I know. I think we all just say, let's go to Manitoba.
Yeah.
I secretly work for Manitoba Tourism.
You are a really good salesman.
No,
I'm
it's fun.
jazzed.
It's a really wicked place. And over the last couple of years, they set it up with boats for rent, and it's all set up now. Like you can, you don't have to have all the shit to go.
That's rad, man.
Yeah.
That's rad.
Just grab a float plane and
No, just drive there.
then just go.
Yeah.
Fly into Winnipeg or you fly into Regina and you drive. It's close to
Okay.
the Saskatchewan border. Couple hour drive and you're there.
I wonder if Saskatchewan's got any fishing. Just
Oh,
out
I
of
think
curiosity.
they do. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I don't know about trout, but I'm
Oh.
sure they've got some trout. But
There's-
it's
Yeah.
I think pike is huge
a lot,
there.
Lot,
Yeah.
lot
Yeah.
of good pike fishing.
yeah, and as you push north, all these provinces have a bunch of lakes that would have lake trout and shit like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Saskatchewan's got grayling.
Oh yeah,
That's
See,
pretty
now
cool.
grayling's fun. I love grayling.
Yeah.
If anybody from Saskatchewan is listening, email.
Well,
them.
About
they're-
Jack Pike, Jack
Yeah, they
Jack
call
Fish.
they call him Jack Pike. They call it Pike Jack out there.
All right.
You know
I
what's
know,
even,
right? I'm like, what?
It's okay. Nobody's perfect.
You know what's even crazier?
It's like,
The one with the teeth.
You know what's even crazier about Saskatchewan is what they call hoodies. You know what they call hoodies?
bunny hugs.
Yeah.
Fuck
They-
off. You,
Yeah,
Yeah.
they call.
No, I'm just surprised that you had that. Well, I guess you got a girlfriend from.
Yeah,
Saskatchewan.
yeah.
That was pretty good too, because actually I forgot and I was gonna call him. You know what I was gonna call him? Snuggy bugs. And I was
All right.
I was hoping that he knew what they
Also,
were.
No, they call them buggy hug.
And then
bunny hug.
and then we
bunny
would have
hugs.
got like a whole bunch of hate mails.
Bunny hugs. That's whack, man.
They
Yeah,
call
okay.
they call Pike Jack bunny hoodies bunny hugs. I don't know what's going to Saskatchewan.
It's crazy, man.
Must be something in the water.
Definitely something in the water.
Yeah.
Kiefer, dude, honestly. Yo, what you talking about back there, baby? You want to talk in the mic?
He did. That was a pretty good joke. But anyway,
That was a pretty good joke.
Kiefer
actually.
though.
Yeah, man.
Thanks so much for coming.
That was an awesome show.
Thank you very much
That
for
was
having
so
me, guys.
good.
That was a lot of fun.
It's always the competitive guys, these guys from Team Canada that come on the show and they're just in a blast.
So warm, so
Yeah.
welcoming. You should definitely. When you next time, let's. Can people? How do people get in touch with you? How to do any parting words?
You can
Like,
hit me
what
up.
do you-
I
If you
guess
want people to get in
email,
touch
whatever.
with you,
No,
or
it's
Team
fine.
Canada,
It's
yeah.
fine. Might take me a while to get back, but KeeferPitfield@gmail.com. Or what am I at the Trout Catcher?
You're
or
at
something?
the Trout Catcher.
Yeah. on
That is
Yeah.
your
Instagram.
Instagram handle.
Yeah.
How did you score that
I don't know.
Instagram
Early
handle?
on, I guess. I don't know.
That's a good Instagram handle,
Yeah.
man.
Trout
Yeah.
catcher.
The trout
That's
catcher.
Good.
Trout catcher, yeah.
If all
Um,
else fails, you could probably sell that one day to
Yeah,
somebody.
yeah.
I've changed my Instagram
That's my
name
retirement plan.
4 times.
I love it.
That's my retirement plan.
I love it.
There's a phenomenal forum for competitive fly fishing called the Innovative Fly Fisher. It's run by Fly Fishing Canada's president, Todd Oishi, who's a fucking incredible fisherman. Like, that guy is one of the best in the country and has been for years.
What's the-
Also, thank you for finally making me realize how to pronounce his last name.
Well, I could be wrong there. It's either Oishi or Oishi. Oishi or Oishi.
Right.
Okay.
What's the URL? Is .ca or .com?
.net.
For
.net. No, for
Yeah.
the innovative.
Just Google Innovative Fly Fisher.
Okay.
You'll get it.
Okay, cool.
I'm doing it right now.
And we'll pop that in the show notes too. It's worth checking out.
Yeah, no, honestly, that is a wealth of information. There
Okay.
probably isn't a better forum in the world for
Rad.
information on competitive fishing.
That is cool. Okay,
Yeah.
check that out. Rad. Yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming on. Aldo, where can the folks find our stuff?
Well, first of all, it is the innovativeflyfisher.com. That's where you can find that. It's
Yeah.
Now we know.
Now we know.
The world knows.
Yeah,
Knowledge
guys.
is
I mean,
power.
thanks again thanks Kiefer for coming on.
Thanks for having me,
listeners.
guys.
Thanks for listening. We're starting to get a lot of comments and emails, which is awesome. We're hearing a lot of feedback and it's really positive. And you know what? It I don't know. It keeps us going. Not that we wouldn't stop, but
Nice to hear.
not that we would stop. But it's nice hearing from everybody. So you can always reach us at the SoFlyCrew@gmail.com. You can find all of our content, including this podcast, at SoFly.ca. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify. Rate us on iTunes. Rate us on Spotify.
YouTube.
You can find us on YouTube.
Give us some
Yeah.
likes. Hey, it's like
Vimeo?
all those people say: like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to be like, I don't know.
But you got to do that, man.
I know. Okay, everybody. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, don't forget to hit the
over
like
at,
button below.
YouTube.
Yeah.
yeah.
Smash that comment section.
And review means a lot.
yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Anyway, whatever. SoFly.ca. On Instagram, we're at the SoFly Crew. If you need to reach us, we're the SoFlyCrew@gmail.com. We respond as quick as we can. We're on Facebook at the SoFly Crew or SoFly Fishing. And Kiefer, again, thank you so much, man. It means a lot for you coming on. I think we've got you, Colin, and Ian, which are some titans.
I think Team Canada is well represented.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they
Well,
were
listen, guys.
now we've got
As I
3
said-
Team Canada members on our podcast, and not only are you great anglers, you're just great people.
You guys are doing great things for the sport, so
Thanks, man.
keep it up.
Now we just need to
thank
get
So are
Todd.
you guys. So are you.
Very much appreciated.
Now we just need Todd on the show,
Yeah.
and then we've got Team Canada.
You guys do phone ones? I'll bet.
Yeah.
I'll bet you
Yeah.
Todd to do it.
Yeah.
I'll email him tonight.
Oh, that'd be
Yeah,
rad. That'd
Oh,
be
that
rad.
With
would
the
be rad.
phone?
And then we could finally get to the bottom of how to pronounce his last name.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he'll sort that out real quick. I'm embarrassed that I can't remember which one it is.
I love him, man. All right, that's it for me, Mitch. Aldo,
Later, guys. Thanks for listening.
Gab,
Hey, thanks everyone. See you later.
and Kiefer.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Tut, tut, tut.